Good evening, folks. It is Wobbly Player Syndrome, episode 28, a Warhammer 40k podcast, brought to you by us, RLG. Real loud gamers. We do stuff. We like playing 40k, and we like rambling, and usually drinking beer at the same time. Hi, how is everyone? Today we have five of us. Calm down. Didn't say you. Alright, so we do have Safe for Work Mark.
Yes, hi.
We do have Isabel.
Hello.
And we, of course, Radio Mike.
Good morning, everyone.
And
Afternoon, evening, even.
Covers all time zones. We get listened to all over the world. And coming out of the dark, not safe for work, Mark. Welcome back.
Yeah, I figured I'd finally dig myself out of the depths and say something for once.
I would have been disappointed you didn't, considering Necrons are involved and you play Admech.
Yeah, I know. I'm building a Necron force, played by Admech, which are purple and renegade, but let's not go into that right now.
Yes, we'll talk about that later on. So I hope everyone's doing well. We're going to try and do our normal, regular stuff pretty quick, so if I ramble quicker than normal, it's fun. So, straight to it. Radio Mike, new releases, quick!
Well, we
Mike,
haven't had heaps, but we've got Engine War, which has kind of just come out for the new Psychic Awakening, which has got a lot of interesting stuff in it. There's a bunch of new AdMech stuff, the Tech Priest Manipulus, there's several different flyers called the Archaeopters, I think they're called.
That's right.
Not ornithopters, they haven't completely stolen Dune.
Awesome.
No, they're not totally ripped off.
Their trademark is pretty watertight.
Yeah.
There's like multiple different versions. I think it's a Fusilier, a Transvector, and a Stratoraptor. Then you've got the Cerberus guys. You've got the Sulphur Hounds and the Raiders.
The My Little Ponies.
Yeah, the Pony guys. And the Terraxil Sterilizers and Skystalkers. One of whom is surprisingly good in close combat, looking at their new rules.
That seems like a medical prescription.
Yeah, it did, didn't it? Excuse me, you bend over and cough.
Take 3 Pterodactyl and call me in the morning. And then we've got the new Warhammer Adventures Book 4.
We don't
for
worry
the
about that.
4K one and the AOS one.
No, our kids love that.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, mine really love it.
They're actually in my library at work. We've got the first book in the school library. How funny is that?
That's good.
And we're getting pre-orders coming up in next weekend for War of the Spider, Fabius Bile, and the new Blackstone Fortress.
I'm looking forward to that one because it's got my death card. So, the Engine War had what in it? Quickly.
That was like
Titans, Mechanicus.
AdMech Knights, Chaos Knights. Mostly.
And Chaos Demons.
Demons, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there was demons
That's right.
too. Because I was talking about the Exalted Demons earlier today, wasn't I?
Yeah, there's a big whole section of Slaanesh in there too.
Yeah, they put all the new stuff in there that's not in everywhere else.
And the narrative was pretty good with it.
What was that?
The narrative was pretty good, how they talked about the enslaved demonic traits that were done by the corrupted Admech. So it was really nice, actually. I actually got into the narrative for once.
Yeah, well, I haven't done that, so there you go. I got so excited about getting through everything, I didn't actually talk about what we're talking about today. How good is that? So
We could leave it as a surprise.
It's a mystery!
Yeah. So 2 weeks ago, your message comes up on the screen. Everyone records that, Isabel. So if you want to be subtle, that doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
No.
I'm looking at the bloody screen.
No, it comes up on my screen, which is the pitch that gets recorded.
Why don't you have 2 screens?
So,
Come on.
We are here.
What year is it?
We do our monthly episodes clearly. This month just happened to fall 2 weeks after the big announcement of 9th edition is on its way from Games Workshop. I just happened to be awake at 11 o'clock at night to do the announcements. And
I think a few of us were.
Yeah.
I wasn't.
I actually did a stream to get live reactions, so that was interesting.
I was drunk. Sorry.
That's fine.
I
You
was
don't have to be drunk. Sorry about that.
doing the same thing.
So we're going to look at that big announcements, and there's been a lot of stuff that's come out since then. We'll have a look at that too, and you'll judge if we're excited. And as the title of the episode is called, "Can our handle wallets it?" Can our wallet?
How many has he got?
It's on my first. I will slow it down.
Breathe, Greg. Breathe.
We all know it's exciting that 9th is coming.
It is. It's very exciting. We all knew it was coming.
Just as it's exciting that anyone's coming, really. But,
who doesn't love when you're coming?
I'm a little concerned that you'd like me coming. It's a bit weird. So we've done a new release. That's good. Well done, Michael. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate that.
It's cool. It's what I do.
So we're moving into our hobby progress. We asked beforehand if anyone had actually done any hobby progress. There wasn't a lot of feedback. So, though Not Safe for Work Mark has done some. And you'll see some of his work in the bottom left corner of the screen.
And I think we should have a standing ovation.
No, I don't can't be strong the crotch.
I know, and I'm not wearing pants. That's why I didn't stand up.
Yeah. Build something. Actually decided to finally put some effort into some of the older Necron figures that I got. So got off my ass and painted a Cryptek spider. Totally useless now that I've read on it with the way I actually played the Necrons. But I thought I'd build a model. That was a little bit of fun. Absolute turd to build. So I know how you've gone with the Death Guard with all those spiky, pointy little bits digging into your fingers and not fun. And got off my ass and actually started building some of the AdMech figures that I've got and spent a fortune on already. And built myself what was it? It was an Iron Strider Ballistari. So half pony with guns, if you'd call it.
Call them chicken legs.
Yeah, they're kind of fun. Go kabooey. But happy with it on the sheer fact that I stumbled across a way to make metal look weathered and rusted. So
you left it outside overnight by accident.
Yeah, let the dog chew on. Hey, Michael. But another little technique I found that's worked for me, and I've now got a theme for what I want to push through for the rest of the AdMech.
Awesome. That's awesome. And Michael, you said you painted some stuff.
Yeah, I've built a couple of demons slowly, and I was like, I need to start forcing myself to paint Goliaths again. So I sat down and knocked out a couple more of my Goliaths, and I was like, yeah, now there's just 2 more out of that gang to paint, and then my dog ate one of the 2 that I painted. So it's like,
oh dear.
So it was literally 2 steps forward and 1 step back in terms of painting Goliaths.
There still was only one, not all of them.
Yeah.
Yes, he just grabbed one and ran off with it.
Kids, dogs, they're dangerous.
Yeah, so that's all the painting. My hobby progress is I bought a lot of stuff. But in my defense, I bought a lot of stuff before everything went off the shelf. So when everything came back, it just arrived all at the same time. I went, oh shit. That's great. So now I have 2,000 points of Death Guard to paint.
Well, considering the price of things now, I wish I had done that, because those AdMech My Little Ponies are not cheap.
No, there was a price rise, unfortunately, at the 1st of June. That didn't help either. I did notice it was most of the older stuff, most of the old Marines, not any of the Primeras stuff. So it was interesting. But if you do look around online, I won't promote anyone at the moment because they're not giving us any money. You can find some decent deals. See me afterwards.
Oh, I will.
That sort of deal.
See me in the car park afterwards. I've got lots of deals.
Have I got a deal
What
for
you
you?
do for me.
Oh dear.
So, some of the social distancing restrictions have started to be loosened up. We actually are allowed to have other people in the house. That's not family. Still can't get rid of the family that's in the house, but that's not the point. Who's had some battle reports? Michael, you did some non-physical battle reports.
I've played a lot of Total War Warhammer and played a bunch of Blood Bowl, and got absolutely thrashed in the grand final of the league that I was in. Just showed up to the grand final, like, having lost 1 game, and get in there, and it's like, all right, I'll just try and pick the ball up. 1. That's cool. He rerolls 1. Okay, next turn. All right, fine. I'll punch someone. Basically, double 1. Okay, fine. I'll re-roll that. Double 1. Oh, that's how this game's gonna go, is it? Yeah, I
saved up your dice god hatred for that one moment.
Definitely hackers.
I made 1 action per turn for like the first 5 turns because I failed the first dice roll I tried to make every turn. And then on the 8th turn, I just went, nope, I concede. Bye.
I noticed in that league, in this one in particular, a few people have been absolutely hammered. My team's also been hammered in that team. It's just, it's brutal.
What?
No, different league.
Oh, in the other one.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't need to talk about that league.
No, well, I haven't played that league for freaking weeks anyway.
Yeah, it's been brutal. I've actually managed to get 3 games in. of actual physical 40k on the tabletop, which you can actually see the remnants of the game I played today against Rob. His AdMech versus my Salamanders.
How refreshing.
It was actually. I worked out I hadn't played my Salamanders since the Salamanders Codex came out. And I have a feeling it probably even longer than that, because I grabbed my data cards, opened and went, ooh, they still smell new. Oh, they're still in order. Oh, wow. Okay. And then I went, oh, combat doctrines. What are they again? I had no idea what I was doing. I had one vehicle, one Land Raider. I bought the handprints. The hand of God came out onto the table.
Goddess, thank you.
Goddess, sorry. And with the Redeemer and the Flamers, oh my God, just straight up the middle, and he comes out with the tracked guys for the AdMech. I can't remember what they're called.
Yeah.
I just went,
Cataphrons?
and they were gone.
Yeah, they're your Cataphrons.
Cataphrons, yep. And just put that down, and I had 3 aggressors out there with their flame gauntlets, and then and there goes the other 3 Cataphrons. I went, holy crap! Who would have thought Salamanders like flamers?
Salamanders and flames? Shock.
So it was a lot of it was a really tight game, a lot of back and forth, and I think it was I'm in front by 1, he's in front by 1, I'm in front by 1. It was like that until the end of turn 5. The game finished 16 all.
Oh wow!
That's a good game though, right?
Conclusive.
Nobody loves it, but it's a good game.
I had 1 model left on the
Gripping.
table.
Oh,
I had
Wow.
the Terminator Captain left on the table, and that was it. And he still had more. But he got too close to the captain. I went, all right, I'll swing back. The Drake Smiter Hammer, if I roll a natural 6, it does 6 damage. And that killed his war boss. I went, hey, that's Slay the Warlord. Huh, and that's Assassinate. That's 16 all.
he's probably sitting going, "You fucking bastard! I'll get you later."
The other 2 matches I played against him earlier, and with my Death Guard, I got slaughtered. I played a big game of Yarrick versus Gaz, which you'll see in the corner being streamed. Huge game, long day. The guns of the Catachan tanks were just far too much for Gaz and his boys. It was fun though. It was a lot of fun. But when the boys came charging over and saw 2 Punishers there who fired twice and then just went, and then there was no more boys, it was a good game.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Get your dice cup out.
Yeah, well, that's what, 20 dice twice times 2 tanks, yeah.
No. That's a dice bucket. I'm sorry, that is not a dice cup.
But Gaz, Gaz is intimidating. I got to tell you, him coming down and just going, I don't want to, no, I don't want to. But
He has never been a slouch.
No, but then you
Big
have
boy.
Eric in the middle of the tanks, where he gets to re-roll hits and misses, not just once, all hits and misses. That's just against orcs. So if you're not playing orcs, you're okay. He's pretty devastating. So there you go, 3 games. Which, if you're following the ladder, Rob has now put himself into the top 5 with a win and a draw. So I think, Mark, you have to step up your game. And that's all I can remember. I know I'm on top because I just am. So.
Because you're playing, no one else is.
Moving right along.
Moving right along. All right, so there's our
Fine.
war reports, our hobby progress, new releases. That's our normal stuff. Should we move on?
Only if you insist.
I'm going to insist, but we'll go to our ad break first. Yeah? First, so we can have a deep breath for 30 seconds and then come back and start talking about other stuff.
That's enough to pour a wine.
Right, here we go.
We are Rollers, and we have the games for you. Be it board games, card games, dice games, or party games. You name it, and we have it. Find us online at rollersboardgames.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at rollersboardgames.
From acoustic to distortion, Storyboard Concept is music that's honest, relaxing, and full-bore rockin' music. Follow Colin at storyboardconcept.bandcamp.com. And we're back! Unmuted is even better.
Back.
So welcome back. Yes.
Guess who's back?
Hi, everybody.
Hi everybody. I did forget to put some plugs of our social links so you can find Our social links so you can find our games, our battle reports. You can find them on our YouTube channel, the RLG Real Loud Gamers. You can find it on our Facebook page, RLG40K. I'm looking over there because like I don't remember the damn things. It's terrible.
I don't remember the goddamn things.
Twitch, we've tried a couple of times to do a stream of Twitch. You can find it on /Redbelly, which you're watching right now. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Watching this right now.
Anybody that's familiar with the Red Belly Twitch will know about hello.
Hello. Of course, we got our Instagram, RLG40K, our Twitter, RLG OzGamers. Have I missed anything?
No.
Good.
Nah.
Cool. All right, so we're going to move on to part. Michael's scaring me. Is he frozen, or is he just? He has frozen. It's just weird.
He's back.
He's asleep.
It was kind of scary.
No, just Skype died.
Yeah, cool. All right,
Microsoft
so we're going to
product
show.
guy? No.
So 2 weeks ago, the 9th edition was announced by this video being shown. We were going to play this video, and then we're going to go, ooh, ah, Glenn McGrath. That's not right.
Can't deny.
So,
Good.
Be back in about 3 minutes.
I see a chainsaw. That's about the only thing I recognise from the Imperial
That
side.
is the film clip, and as you said, everyone's seen it. It's been 2 weeks. There has been over 1 million people who have viewed it, so yeah, you're probably right. Maybe we're not the first ones to show it.
Oh,
Maybe
you're
we're
kidding,
not.
right?
Are you sure?
You're kidding me.
Maybe I should
I
take
ran
down
around
the
trying to stop
exclusive
everyone.
badge.
I mean, how dare GW show it before you?
I'm saying.
It's just rude.
It's just outrageous. So I think there's some key parts in that I think are worth at least going, ooh, ah, and on the podcast it's going to sound very interesting. But
No, that's pretty much podcast par for the course. I like it. Carry on. I agree. There's some excellent pieces in there.
What we're going to do, because yes, many people have seen it, we're going to go down the line, talk about 2 great things you've noticed about each faction that showed up. So you ready, folks? It's 5-star. For
I'm
example,
ready.
I'll start off with the Astra Militarum. The things that oh my god, the things that pointed out to me was, Cadia, they're alive and well. Dang it! And,
Sounds so disappointed there.
and the 2 thing, female guards person. Yes, I was just very happy to see that.
Guards person of the week, by the way, on the community forums.
Oh, I did see that. Yes, Isabel, your 2 things since I've gone out of order, but who cares, Isabel?
I think my 2 things were that we did focus on the females. Number 1, we had that female guardsman. We had a bit of emotion, a bit of empathy, like literally just watching their colleague die, and then watching a female from the sisters save the day, take out the Necrons. And so females were at the forefront, which is actually a really good thing for GW to be doing, because there isn't a lot for females to get involved, but there are female hobbyists. I mean, I'm pretty low key, but maybe we need more of me. So that was
World
my big
handle that.
takeaway.
There you go, new episode 29. Can the world handle more, Isabel?
Yes, why not?
Michael,
No
what
one
did you
else
think
handles
from the
me.
Astra Militarum side of things?
I'm trying to think of what else there was beside what was covered. Like they're
You're
kind
allowed
of
to say the
there
same
at the
thing.
start.
You can copy me. It's worth it.
Well, yeah, like that was kind of it. There was a female guardsman, which is great. And hopefully we'll see some of that reflected in the model lines, not just in the cinematics.
Yes.
That's the big
And because Victoria Lamb can't be picking up all the slack on that front. GW needs to get up their ass and do it as well.
Well, they got that. Oh, they got the new exclusive one for the birthday for the Catachan. So hopefully that.
Yeah, but no, you know what? Big props, Michael. Yes, that is an absolute truth that needs to be told right there.
Yeah.
Not much else to say about the guard because they kind of show up and then they get wrecked and then
how
it
good
moves
did
on.
they get wrecked? Okay. So
I felt there wasn't enough bayonet charge.
Yeah, there should have been some motherfucker bayoneting that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
they
1916,
they
1917.
stood up and
it
got
happens.
vaporized, but there was no bayonets fixed. I mean, come on.
How good is the Gauze weapon in action? That's awesome. Not safe for work, Mark. What about you, Astra Militarum style?
Astro Militarum style, they just looked like they were really wearing those pajamas quite well and dying quite a lot.
Yep, that's the job.
Just tradition.
Basically, they look just massively outpowered wearing linen
There's
pajamas.
something wrong with my helmet, sir.
That's
on the
how
ground
old
with his
saying
head.
goes.
Oh.
Stand fast, die like guardsmen.
Yeah, basically Astro Militarum. It's just like, to me, it looked like, oh, well, they can be off the side again. Look, here's shiny female figs, and here's a whole bunch of Ultra Smurfs.
Oh, God, Ultra Smurfs. Speaking of Ultra Smurfs, Necrons. Since you are the Necron player, what was the 2 things you got away with? Brought to your attention.
Well, when I was 15.
My lifetime.
As a Necron, I got away with.
First thing I noticed is I'm going to have no money left. If I get over my temper tantrum, the fact that this has basically invalidated the appearance of 90% of my figures, and then I might be happy with it. Having said that, I do like the fact that we are starting to see a little bit of love for the Crons.
Well, I mean, has it really invalidated your existing models? I mean, it just gives you some shiny new ones.
You got your canoptic spiders, you've got your destroyers, which are now totally and utterly changed. You're looking at a brand new type of warrior, which I think looks absolutely disgusting. You got the 3-legged freak, which is now a running infantry type thing, and things that I don't have currently in my set.
Your
Things that I don't.
just got Primeras treatment.
I wouldn't be surprised if you can keep using what you've got alongside that.
No, I don't think they're going to go to legend status.
No, they won't.
But I think...
Sorry.
Yeah, and I do think it'll be fine, but the models, there's a chance that people might argue with that in I think, exclusive or, I guess, unfriendly groups. I don't think RLG is one of those.
Yeah, I was about to say that. Is with the group that we are, no one is going to do it apart from give me
shoes,
shit
mate.
because I'm poverty. But yeah, if I'm not a tourney player, so I don't have to worry about that. I just won't be able to keep up with Michael buying my force before I even do.
So here's what the 2 things you took away from the Necrons. Here's 2 things you took away from the Necrons.
Just hardcore, like really hardcore. Just brutal, hardcore, emotionless. But the main thing I took away were they're going to be the next big bad. I think Chaos, alas, I think it might take a back seat.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I agree.
It's my turn on the list. 2 things I took away: those Scorpic units look awesome. That's the big blade things and the big guy at the end who's even bigger than bigger. Going, oh my god!
The 3-legged mutants.
That looked awesome, and the imagery of the Scarab swarms just going at the Marines. I just went, yes, that's what a Scarab swarm's meant to do.
Yeah, I just hope they amp the Scarabs up a tiny bit to make them more useful at doing that.
Yeah. Michael, 2 things you took away from Necrons.
I really liked all the new Necron models. I think they look really cool. But I'm like a shameless, GW fanboy half the time, it seems. I liked it. I just hope that they don't amp up those Scarabs because I remember how much of a pain in the ass Scarabs used to be.
Well, they were fantastic in 7th, 8th. They were friggin' useless.
They were fucking horrifying back in, what was it, 4th?
But that's what I envision of the Scarabs is just that swarm coming at you. It's a plague of them coming at you. It's just brilliant. And you'll chainsaw it. It's going to do nothing. You need to get some Aussies out there with the bottle hats and the corks hanging down.
Adeptus Australis.
Captain Master Bruce.
Mark K, what do you say from Necrons?
So I think they're trying to inject the character back in. That I think the Necrons lost around that sort of 6th, 7th kind of where they, or actually even really 8th, where they just sort of they lost that whole roll of dice at the end of the turn, and then they all stand back up, kind of dread and kind of horror about them.
I didn't see any of those ones stand up in that video.
Well, but the thing is that they kind of shamble a bit more and things like that, and they've sort of tried to bring the horror back that they
Yeah.
originally had, where you didn't know much about them or anything like that, and it sort of turned your imagination on them. But really liking it, actually.
Yeah. All right. So the next people we were introduced to were the sisters. Michael, 2 things you took away from the sisters coming in.
I thought it was really cool to see them at all. It's great. I was expecting to show up later in the edition because they're never on time. But
There's a theory.
I
think it's going to be broken.
There's a theory. There's a theory that every edition ends when the Sisters Codex comes out. What was the last Codex released in 8th? Sisters. What was the last Codex released in 7th? Sisters.
But yeah, it was cool seeing a representation of their ability to heal themselves with their faith.
Oh, that was awesome.
And
how good was that?
that was cool. It was like, fuck yeah. Just sack up and get over it. Just fortify.
Tits up and get over it. Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's why I swapped to fortify.
Get that up there. Oh.
But it was really cool. Trying to select an army of them.
Yeah, Mark, good, great segue,
Yeah,
Mark.
I mean, for me, it was just that they were there.
They were the core. They were the core of the fucking show.
Yeah, but the thing is that, I mean, we see these trailer videos and things, and then they go and release like 5 sets of the models, and like, I don't know, it's almost like they're trying not to have these things be a thing. Weirdly enough, I'll believe that there's more to it when we see models in general circulation, because the fact that no one can buy them is, there's no point having them in a trailer if you can't go buy the models.
I hear what you're saying because they've done that in the past, that's for sure. And you just get all excited of what is that.
It's a perfectly valid point when you look at what is clearly going to be a box set of Marines v Necrons. And the sisters were the main part of the trailer, if anything.
I have a theory on that, but we'll see.
Mr. Not safe for work, Mark. What about you?
It was nice to see them. After all the absence that there was, and there was the clusterfuck to do with the release when they came out, to me it signifies that they are going to put a touch more focus on them this time. Maybe they are going to be the nemesis towards the Kron, not just General Imperium, but maybe the sisters will be. That's the opposite. That's the flick of them.
Yeah,
that's the feel I got, because they focused on that one sister being that holding point against the Kron force. Particularly, you see the Skorpek and whatever else is behind it. She's the holding point, and then she uses the others as reinforcements. Not she's the reinforcements for the others.
Yeah.
That's my
full
feeling.
Work of faith.
Yeah.
Isabel, what do you think of? I know it's meant to be. No,
So, pie in the sky. I want to see a Sisters Krons box set.
Yeah, I would love it.
That's what I want.
And
what I want there to be a Sisters Krons box set, and I want the Space Marines not to take a back seat, but to be exactly what they've always been, the people you call on when other shit fails.
Yep.
I want that to be the case, and I think a Sisters Krons box set would make that reality.
I agree.
Don't think
it would
we'll
be
ever see
beautiful.
that happen, but yeah.
No.
I fucking want it though.
Even this play out, I think it'd be nice to see a box set that didn't have Marines in it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about something about that towards the end, but I don't think we'll ever see that happen.
No.
Unfortunately.
Ye of little faith.
For me, the sisters.
You cannot heal your Necron wounds.
Look, for me, talk about the sisters. Hopefully, look like they're going to play a big part in the world. If you check out their community sites and stuff like that, sisters are everywhere. The imagery and stuff like that. So to see if they're going to keep going with that, with models and storyline and stuff, was fantastic. The healing by faith was just awesome. The one thing I just want to point out is where she hit that Skorpic with her power sword, and it went, and I think that sums up power swords. I think they're shit, but that's...
I loved it.
I'd
I loved
rather a
it.
chainsaw than a power sword. Chainsaw went straight through his chest. Power sword, pang!
No, but what I also loved about that is she did that. She hit him in the leg and went, shit, that didn't work. But then completely moved into an immediate parry, which was an just excellent, warcraft.
Yeah. I just wanted to highlight that power swords are shit. That was all.
Yeah, they are.
Speaking of
Unnecessarily shit,
Mark,
they
tell
should
us
be
what you
better.
took out of Mark K, the ones about the Ultramarines.
Well, I mean, they were showing off the whole new assault Primaris, and let's face it, we've all been kind of screaming for that since 8th, basically. And one of the things I've noticed with GW lately is they're leaning into the whole superhumanness of the Marines that they haven't really captured very well in the past. They've kind of just been like cannon fodder in most of the videos and stuff. So I mean, there's that, but I mean, on the whole, there wasn't a whole lot for Marines really in the video.
Sorry, not safe for work, Mark. You've got a bit of background noise there. I don't know what you've changed.
Well, I'm having lots of problems with my setup at the moment. Sound and video are dropping in and out.
Okay, so what do you think of the Space Marines?
They're shit. Get rid of them. No.
Well, they're a bloody about to, I think.
Yeah, for me, it connects in with my point that I said about the sisters. It was nice to see something else take the focus. Yes, I know the Smurfs are the crux of what's out there. They are the ones who come in to pick up the shit when the shit fails.
Yes.
And it was just very nice to see them disappear for and get back on.
Oh, are we losing? No.
I dropped in and out for a bit there, I think.
Yeah, you did, but I think we get what you mean. I mean, it was nice to see them represent in a video as not the protagonist. They are the people you call when you've got no one. They're the fucking A-team.
Yeah, that's the feeling I got from them this time. It's like, she's fucked. The Crons are coming around. They're going to kill her off. She needs some help. Oh, look, there's the ones who are there who are actually supposed to be the helpers, and they're going to help her out.
And then
here I come to save the fucking day.
That was the best part.
Yeah. It was nice to see them not OP.
Yeah.
Well, see, the thing is that, again, I mean, when they're charging with the scarabs and stuff, and you see them deflecting the scarabs and stuff all around and sort of dodging the fire and all of that stuff, you sort of get that feel that they've got like the extra reflexes and things that they constantly bang on about in the lore, but most of the time you just see them being mowed down like guardsmen.
But
what I would have liked to have seen
when the swarm did get one of the Marines, and anything can, especially in 8th edition, anything could take down anything. So then that Marine just sort of crumbled down because he was just overwhelmed. So they're not perfect either.
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen a guard regiment
hit
the scarabs at the same time, and you see the difference.
Yeah, that would not be pretty.
That would have been, but it also would have made it like far less, what is it, MA15 plus.
So so is your turn to take away from the Marines? That was you for the Marines?
I know. Sorry. I just got finished talking. Look, I like the Marines. I was a bit concerned that, seriously, the biggest takeaway I had was an ultramarine with a red helmet, and I'm like,
that's law.
That's a sergeant.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask that myself.
It used to be a sign of embarrassment. I can't think of the right word. When they stuffed
up. It was a sign of censure.
Thank you, censure.
During the heresy.
Pre-heresy. Because the guy who had been censured did so well during the heresy, they went, no, it's an honourable thing now. Yeah. That's the short version, people.
So because my experience with sergeants, because I'm telling you, even as far back as that, you couldn't get a sergeant with a helmet They wore no helmets. They did that because they were fucking better than everyone else. And they were like, I'm a sergeant, no helmet, let's go.
Yep. Headwinds don't
Anyway,
kill
so
the sergeants.
that messed me up to start with.
Yeah.
Aside from that, great, loved it. I loved it. I liked the idea of Primaris because what they did was they amped up a lot of the other groups, and so the sisters, when you stand them toe to toe with a Marine, they're about the same size, which that doesn't make sense if they're pure human. So okay, maybe they're genetically engineered humans, maybe they're a little bit taller, a bit stronger, maybe a lot stronger, not like Space Marines, but then Primaris make it sense that it's like, oh, they're the next level. And I kind of like that. And I loved the way they juxtaposed that. When the Marine came in, felled that, Christ, what was it, Skorpek destroyer, and the sister looked up, the Marine's freaking head and shoulders taller.
Yeah.
And it was an excellent juxtaposition, but they just both stood there as representatives of the Imperium above a felled foe. It was great.
Yeah. So it's funny how when they stood up and the Space Marine started walking towards her, going, "Yes, I just saved your life." The wings of the Imperium Eagle right behind it is going, "Oh, the wings of the Angels of Death." Yeah, it's a nice little subtle background there. I don't know if everyone else saw it, but I did.
Yeah, beautiful.
It was
beautiful.
just going, that is brilliant.
Only a cinematographer would see that, and I didn't. So big up you.
And the cosmetic of that shield, where he picks up the shield and it's got a full skeleton on it. I was like, yeah, I love it. Practical? Probably not, but who cares?
Definitely.
That's awesome. And then just the charging in, because it's what we want to see. We don't want to see gun lines. We want to see them coming at each other with the big chainsaws and swarms. And if they can get that into the game again.
Michael, stop being so angry. You've gone Hulk.
Have I?
Has it? Has it on my screen? You're fine on my screen.
He's green on mine. But at least he's got a screen. My camera has died. So,
Yeah. So overall, Isabel, video, excited?
Yep. Big thumbs up from me. I showed it to all my kids, and they're all going to have nightmares for a month.
Yeah.
For me, I showed my son because he's the Necron player, and he went and almost lost his shit, which I wasn't going to clean up. And I thought it was brilliant. I was really excited. Too much Ultramarine for me, but apart from that, Michael.
I didn't actually get to talk about what my takeaway from the Marines
What's your
was.
takeaway from the Marines, Michael?
I thought it was good that you saw Primaris, who've become kind of 40k-ified. When the Primaris were first released, they were very 30k-ish. They were all wearing the same armor, had the same gear. Their gear wasn't as embellished. It wasn't covered in skulls, and they didn't have bones, and they weren't wearing little pauldron shields. Whereas now, in 9th edition, they're 160 years into being 40k Marines instead of 30k Marines, and they're picking up more of the grimdark.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's cool. I've got to
Yeah,
say,
like-
I'm going to get into this later with the models, but agreed. I've got another angle there too.
Right, so overall,
I liked it. I thought it was nice to see this really cool cinematic.
Yeah.
I thought it was nice to get a non-typical antagonist thrust forward with the Necrons, because realistically they are a galaxy-ending threat. They taking them seriously for a change is nice, and it was good to see more than just Marines on the Imperial side, and the Marines
very true.
not totally stealing the limelight.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. Safe for work, Mark?
I basically just agree with everything everyone just said. So
Awesome. Yeah. The Ultramarines are shit. You are right. Well done.
no. Mark, not safe for work. Mark hasn't had a go yet.
He's about to.
No, I'm behaving myself. I said that was shit right from the start, but I'm behaving myself. Being good.
Yeah. We've got an Ultramarine player there, and we've got a Necron player. We had to separate them on the video because it's just not safe.
They're just so fucking OP. It's just no fun.
The Emperor protects.
And then he fudges it as well. So let's not get into that.
Cool. So that's the video that showed us a couple of weeks back, which it was pretty exciting. Were we actually any of us surprised they were announcing 9th edition?
I was a touch.
Not massively.
Not me.
No.
I felt
I
like
thought-
the timing was interesting.
Do you
No,
think
I just thought they
the whole
might get some of their
COVID thing
codexes
pushed
out
it forward?
really first.
Totally off
I
topic.
mean-
do you think COVID pushed it forward because they couldn't sell anything, so they had to try and generate interest?
I suspect that was it.
That is absolutely an astute observation.
Well,
Definitely.
the thing that I liked about it was that we didn't have that 7 months of hype leading up to like the announcement. It was like,
Yeah.
oh hey, we got a big announcement, bam, here it is.
Yeah.
There
They
was no like, disappointing, long lead up and disappointing drop.
Yeah.
They didn't fucking October the announcement.
Yeah.
Oh,
So at
They
the end of
just
this,
did it.
remember
That is never going to go away, and
No,
it's
fuck.
never not going to be funny.
that
No.
and the sister
Yeah.
gate. At the end of this, you will have to do your prediction of when Ninth will actually be dropped. So remember, work it out, get your calculators out, whatever.
Oh, I know.
31st of February.
when Corona goes.
I like it. 31st of February, lock it in. Check in the mind, Kayla. During that whole announcement, they also showed the video of what was it? 9 things to know about Ninth Ed. Now, this video actually got me more excited about Ninth Ed than the actual cinema.
And before you go on, I'm going to make a bold statement and say I haven't seen it.
It pissed me off.
My God,
It
you haven't
pissed
seen
me
it.
off.
Pissed you off.
Sorry.
Ooh.
This video just got me crankier and crankier and crankier.
Well, let's see if this
Yeah.
one works. Not much fun. Which is disappointing, I must say. So, and of course, everything else is just shut down because I was looking elsewhere. So I've lost my run sheet.
Not miss much.
Oh, that's harsh. Run sheet. All right, 9 things about it. Okay, so there's 9 main things they talked about. They said it's the best game ever. They said it's the Crusade, command points, tanks and monsters, terrain is back, scale of battle, reserves, blast weapons, and number 9's off the page. One moment.
Flyers.
Flyers. Thank you, Flyers. Oh, I'm really disappointed that's not working.
It's okay. Let's just move on.
Yeah,
I'm going
on.
to take this right from the start because I'm gonna disappoint everyone and reveal to everyone exactly how fucking in tune I am. I'm excited about 9th edition only because it's a new game in a time when I'm ready to start playing again, when I'm buying the
isn't it?
Necromunda box set, when I might buy a miniature or two, when my kid's to an age that might actually be about to play, and we have an edition of the game that's going to last for at least 3 years that we can just start playing.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's it. That's my takeaway. Because I don't know anything about the rules previously, so I have no comparison
Yeah.
to get to, aside from the terrain, which you guys will get to. And
think-
yeah, that's it
I
for
watched
me.
the Q&A when it was replayed. I didn't watch it live, so I watched the Q&A. They did spread out. They gave more information about the 9 things. I thought one of the cool things about it was it's being play tested. Now, that might not seem a small thing, but we've been playing 40k for how long? How often do we say, did they even fucking play test this thing?
I will believe that it's been more play tested than usual
Yeah.
when it works better because like they've play tested every edition.
Well,
you know,
this
that's
they're
not
also involved.
new.
There is a clip out there that they actually talk to some of the play testers.
And a lot of what the playtesters said is like, that's very generic and doesn't tell me
know,
anything,
right?
guys. Thanks.
One of the play testers was the organizer and creator of Nova Open, whatever it's called. Yeah. So, and I feel that you'll see the maps. Oh my god, the words are fun. You like that?
We're all waiting.
Oh,
So-
me?
We'll see the what?
Maps?
You know
The board, the tables,
No, the things you've got to do. And you've got to do stuff.
the mission.
The missions.
That's it.
Hooray!
We're slowly getting
I
there.
feel like we've unlocked an
Holy
achievement.
Shit.
The missions, I think, will
Holy
represent
Trying to
some of
speak
that.
to me. I know it.
I know, right?
What's that? Timmy's down a well.
It's like a thing you do.
Shit. This is our first episode, right? Oh, I'll get better, right?
Holy shit.
No, that's my
Check,
favorite
please.
part. Honestly, that is my favorite part of any episode ever. I love
Well, I
it.
just
No,
fell down.
Mark waving the fucking paper in
I'm
front of
trying
his
to get my
microphone
Yeah.
is my favorite part.
Oh, dear. So, Michael, tell us about Crusade. What you know about Crusade?
Well, I mean, Crusade sounds really interesting because from the sound of it, they've taken a lot of the, previously kind of sidelined campaign advancement rules for characters and stuff, and made that
Second
an
edition
actual. Well, it's been around in a lot of editions. Like the Horus Heresy has alternate rules for it. I've played in a couple of campaigns where they've kind of jury-rigged character advancement rules, and it sounds like they've got that for like most of your army. And I like the sound of like pick a certain number of power level of troops and units, and that's what's in your army potentially. And then as you play in this kind of Crusade campaign, you can take units from that.
Yeah, so where you can actually, we've tried to do a slow grows or campaigns where you get territories to get more points to help with your mind out of their status. But it's the first time I actually feel like they're actually doing something like that. So you actually build your army and you're invested in your army. It's not just here's my 2,000 points. Yep, they do stuff. It's a character. I mean, the way they sold it, my scout's now a sergeant. Your sergeant's almost dead, but he's been promoted to Dreadnought. That's exciting.
Yeah.
My opinion's just meh. It's like it's not a necessary thing that I feel is needed for the game. It's you're talking about a game which is designed around tournaments and being able to play various people at various times. I'm really not going to give one rat's ass if someone walks in that I play against what the history is on their campaign beforehand. If anything, I'd feel, well, have you legitimately campaigned this properly to earn those rewards that you've gotten, or have you just said you've done it? There's no proof.
Well, I think
I think with the campaign rules, I think the main point with that is that it's designed to be an RLG type situation where there is documentary evidence of an actual campaign tournament, not necessarily tournament, but it's like it's bringing role playing back into wargaming, where you actually have a genuine campaign that moves through your group of friends. It's absolutely not the shit that was tournament.
And I totally get that. I totally do. But if they're marketing that as a selling point of it, to me, they need to provide more info than what they've got now. Because
interestingly, they did actually say in part of their examples where they're talking about it, they were like, you could show up to play people you don't know with your Crusade army, and it's like it sounds like
and that's what really made my head jump, considering that guy we had. How long ago was it, Grizz? The Corsair army who lasted 3 weeks. Could you imagine what would happen if we let that type of thing that Michael and I are saying? You've got that ability where someone says, I've earned all these skills in these previous campaigns. These guys are freaking yip-yah. And
again, I mean, this comes back to the whole don't be a dick thing that, we've covered endlessly on this show. The thing is that what I like about Crusade is that they've given us a framework which we can operate in to add narrative in if you're not game mechanics minded.
Yep.
So, because before, if we wanted to have a running campaign, we had to create the missions and then we had to create the rewards and stuff like that. And you'd wind up creating these massively broken systems because, let's face it, there's 4 of you, and you can't play test that well.
And
whereas, seriously, well played, Mark. Yep.
Yeah. Whereas,
the reason I brought it up is because in the bit where they're talking about, yes, you can play this with people you don't know, they mention that the Crusade rules have a balancing factor in that those upgrades make your units more expensive. They affect your stuff. Your opponent gets stuff to counter the fact that you have stuff. So it's not like they just show up and say, my guys are better, because they just are. They might have optimal stuff that you would normally have to roll for, but you will at least get some kind of benefit to make up for the fact that your units aren't as good. Much like in Blood Bowl, like the inducements, that kind of stuff.
I'm not being negative about it. I'm being more ambivalent about it. It's just something I do not give one rat's left testicle about. I just see the potential for abuse.
I think I'm excited about for a slow grow would be a great way to use Crusade.
That was my first thought.
Yeah, no, I love Safe Work Mark's point. I thought that was hit the nail right on the head, and I think the fact is that most players in the world play in a non-tournament environment where the rules are not strict, and the people are generally friends and known to each other and less likely to be antagonistic to each other. And I think, I think it's great as long as everything's documented and tracked as a campaign. What ecosystem maybe? I'm actually really excited. This is the thing that makes me most excited about this edition.
Same for me. That's exciting too. I think they've worked out that Necromunda has been huge for them. And what's the big thing about Necromunda? That RPG side.
The tracking and advancement of your
Kill
game.
Team was also huge for them. Right? Again,
Where's
same
Kill
thing.
Team now?
It is just it was still against building the character up.
I know.
So I think
a lot of
if
people
you
who
put it
aren't
to a
us are
larger
playing
scale,
Kill Team.
I'm not being negative. I'm being ambivalent. Me, it's just meh. Go on, RPG. I'll go back to
No, I'm with you. No. It's good. It's okay. I disagree with you, but I appreciate your where are you coming from. I think we just have different what we want to do with the game.
I think it opens up. You've got your tournament players, you've got your match play players, and now you've got your story players. So it's to me, it sounds like they're listening, and that's really weird to say for Games Workshop. But they did it in 8th. They listened in 8th. It's weird.
that was one thing I was going to say. Like, it feels like they've taken the multiple different ways to play the game, and they've kind of made them a bit more codified and made them a bit more reactive to the communities that they're supposed to be targeted at.
Yeah.
As you said, they had people who design major tournaments doing playtesting. So that probably, ideally, is going to help whatever the new match play system is. And it sounds like they've also taken a lot of feedback from the way Necromunda and those games have worked for making with the narrative thing. Whereas before they kept saying, oh, you can just play narratively, but it really felt tacked on.
Yeah, it was like, oh, you can do this, but we'll give
do whatever you want.
You can reenact this. You can, there's nothing. There was nothing to it. All right, Mark, safe for work, command points.
So command points, I mean, it looks like they've actually done a fairly extensive rework on this whole thing. Huge. Basically, they've done away with all the CP batteries and stuff like that. So basically, your detachments cost you CP now.
Yep.
And I mean, your main detachment with your warlord in it gets refunded back to you, and you have to spend more CP to get other detachments. And they've really seemed to rewarding the whole battle forge. You know, your army is an entire, like your detachment has to be from the same army.
Soup.
Yeah, and that kind of thing. So you don't wind up with like Necrons and Tyranids and Tau and stuff all in one army, because they just go the best ones, and these generate me the most CP points.
Of course it is.
They've also made it so that you get some CP back each turn for further stratagems, and I think that was all right because, I mean, we've all played a game where you've had like 3 CP and you're done by the end of turn 1 or 2, and the other person has a CP battery of like 26 points or whatever and can just do whatever they want.
Yeah, so I always found command points were a balancing with the 8th edition because I'm playing against custodians who have no command points, right? Because they're just too expensive. Or I play guard who have all the command points. But for guard to kill custodians, they need all the command points. And I found that balance. But then I saw how they're doing this is, yes, if you go this type of force, you get this many command points. And then you've got to spend it on detachments. Then you've got to spend it on not just your stratagems as well. You also got to spend it on reserves, which we'll get to later. I love it. It becomes that thinking game again. It's not just the generic, here's my 7 stratagem cards in a row, it's cost me 8 points, but you know what? You no longer have a force on the field.
Yep.
Yeah, the other thing that I liked was that they've introduced that whole penalty for falling back, so you don't wind up with a unit that.
Topic.
Well, it is. It's a stratagem. It is a stratagem. So and having the points come to you each turn means that there's a potential for you to actually be able to make that count later on in the battle.
So I want to throw to Michael because I think he's played more AOS than the rest of us. He'd be familiar with the command phase that they have in AOS than the rest of us.
That was kind of a takeaway when I saw that they're adding that command phase. It's pretty much AOS at the start of each turn. You have that phase where you activate your general's ability stuff in that command phase, and that feels like what they're borrowing from with it.
It worked. It felt good.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting. I kind of like the drip feeding command points thing. Ideally, I think armies should have less command points, but they get drip fed in, because then you'll see less of those, I'm going to spend 7 in one dumb strategy, and more, I'm going to do a little thing each turn, which I think feels better from a gameplay perspective.
The game's not over in the first turn,
Yeah!
And you could even work it so that you get more throughout the game, so that your final turns actually become that climactic kind of finale.
Yeah. Nothing worse than turn 5, you need that reroll and go, nah, son of a... Still got a draw. I'll take it.
I have a feeling there's going to be a lot more warlord traits and abilities that increase your drip feeding, because one thing I did notice in Engine War is that Tzeentch Exalted Demons Exalted Demons can get an ability where there is a 1 in 3 chance they'll gain an extra CP per turn. And I feel like that ability is going to start cropping up in the new codexes.
That is the one thing that said Psychic Awakening is definitely built for 9th edition.
Yeah, and I saw that, and I thought, that lines up with the new CP rules.
Interesting. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they come from. Isabel, you got anything to add to that?
All I would say to that is I have no idea about this rule stuff. However, what I've seen, what I've seen of codices and Psychic Awakening releases, it's been so recent. So these types of books, from a publishing perspective, a writing perspective, they start these years in advance. They don't release these things. Yeah. Oh shit! You know what? Psychic Awakening book 45 didn't fucking do very well. I think maybe what we'll do is we'll release a new bloody rule set next week. That doesn't happen.
No.
So there is a huge amount of planning and execution going on here.
Yep.
And I believe that the most recent releases of GW and Warhammer, I should say, they're all going to be built for the new the new rule set, and more to the point, they're going to be built so that people don't need to buy another codex very soon.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
That's my theory.
Number 4 was tanks shooting in hand-to-hand combat. Now, I chose myself to lead off on this one because I play tanks. And I hate when someone goes, I'm going to put 30 orcs in your tank so it can no longer shoot. And I go, shit. Well, that tank is no longer at any point. So hearing that they can fire in hand-to-hand makes me go, because I never thought I always thought it strange if you got like a scarab swarm or I was going to say grots. Yeah, grots work or termagancy. I'm now touching your tank. You can no longer shoot. Bullshit! I've got a big fucking turret up here. How are you going to stop that? Shove your hair in it. See what happens. So I'm a big fan of they shoot. As long as it, I don't think that turrets can shoot the person who's in hand-to-hand combat with them.
That's what I was about to say.
You know,
Yeah.
that minimum 1 inch has to be firing at something like that.
That would be my comment on that. It's just like, it makes no sense that that big fucking gun, which is 3.5 meters long, if you put it in a real life perspective, can pivot 180 degrees, 90 degrees, whatever, and be able to shoot the little snotling that's down on the ground. Sure, shoot over their heads and go into the next available set of troops or whatever is available there. But it makes no sense that, I think I remember doing it to one of your games where I bought out a whole stack of warriors and surrounded the tank.
Yeah.
You couldn't do anything, but I was able to smack the tank to death with warriors.
You know, you get a snotling base who touches a bane blade or a knight. They can no longer shoot? What?
I think the worst one I've ever seen was an Emperor Titan, which had a bunch of Terminators with storm shields roll around its toes, and then it couldn't shoot anymore.
Yeah. I think if they got small arms like bolters, pintle-mounted storm bolters, they should be able to shoot in hand-to-hand when they're in combat. But the big cannons and stuff, they should be able to...
Now there was some extra information about that whole thing that dropped, where they were saying that Lehman Russ tanks and Land Raiders were getting buffs. They almost confirmed improvements for the Predator, and there was another tank.
Poor Predator.
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Same article I saw.
However, so they were looking to try and make some of those high point tanks that have been irrelevant for an additional more, sort of bring back the potency for the points.
I just want to put my hand up. When has a Lehman Russ ever become irrelevant?
I was about to say, people kept saying those tanks were irrelevant shit,
When
and
has
it
a
wasn't really my
Catachan
experience.
Lehman Russ ever been irrelevant?
Well, I mean, I haven't seen that with a Lehman Russ because they've always been a pain in my ass. But
It probably was at high-end meta tournaments.
Yeah,
but the Land Raider has been suffering for a long like it hasn't been good since it hasn't been vaguely good since 7th.
The Redeemer Land Raider today's battle, that's 275 points, and it's got an 12-inch gun. I went, Jesus Christ. That's the most expensive Land Raider, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, in 8th, I just never ended up putting it on the table because the Quad Las wasn't worth it.
And remember, this also includes monstrous creatures, not just vehicles. Monstrous creatures are also included in this. So you can no longer tie up some god-awful tyrannid warrior who just wants to eat your face by just going, tag.
And they can attack stuff on second stories of buildings finally.
That's the other one. I'm up the stairs. What are you going to do?
I had my very first Tyrannid game against Ultramarines. They hopped up on the second story, and I couldn't charge them or do almost anything to them. And it's like a gigantic monster, and I'm like, just eat them. They're right there.
One of the dumbest things I saw with that rule was when Imperial Knights needed to spend a stratagem and spend command points in order to be able to measure their melee distance from higher up the model.
It was ridiculous. This is a great rule. Some of the iconic pictures you've seen is a dreadnought crushing some poor orc skull while blasting away at something that's in the distance. You can never do that in the game, but now you might be able to, depending on the skull thickness of the orc. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens there.
I expect there might be... in terms of not being able to shoot the person who's engaging you, I suspect that there might be some exceptions for that, for like Titanic things and monsters and stuff. Like two dreadnoughts wailing at each other might be able to shoot each other.
That'd be awesome.
Whereas like a Lehman Russ probably
Can you
should be able
just-
to shoot the Gretchen the next to it.
Everyone who's watching this, can you just show us again how 2 dreadnoughts fight each other? That was very
They
good.
fight each other like this.
Stop it! Stop it!
Ah! Curse your son!
Ranged weapons, kids. Ranged weapons is how they fight each other. And if there aren't ranged weapons, then literally it is like headbutting.
Terrain is
That's why
back, Michael,
dreadnoughts
so
have-
you tell me.
Oh, terrain! I have high hopes for them saying they're going to fix terrain. But you know, they were super keen about the changes they made to terrain for the last edition, and I was like, why? Why are you proud of this? So I'm hoping that this is going to be really good. Like a lot of it is in there. A lot of the stuff that we wanted them to do, like making terrain work, being able to actually use it, sit in a building and hold it, stuff like that, and being obscured by terrain, that kind of stuff. Like having terrain actually block line of sight for things is going to be great. So I'm hoping that it works.
Key words for terrain, and obscure is one of the key words for certain terrain.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that because as a Tyranids player, the amount of times I've just had Gene Stealers just completely obliterated because they can see through a pinhole in a piece of terrain is just, every game.
And I don't mind that they can see through that pinhole, but it bugs me that there's no penalty. Oh, well, I can see you and you're not in the terrain, so there's no benefit to the fact that 99% of you is obscured, lol.
I can see the back of your foot, therefore I can blow your head off.
Of the 40 of you that are there.
Yeah.
The old rules of when I was behind a forest, well, you can't see me because you can't see more than 2 inches in a forest. You just can't.
Yeah.
But that tree's opened up. I can see straight through those trunks.
If they move out of the way of the bullets.
It's like, the rules say fuck you.
Yeah.
Look, I think terrain rules are one of the idiosyncrasies of wargaming that is extremely difficult to get right, and I think they overcorrected with the last edition, and I'm hoping they bring it back to a more stable middle ground with this edition, because things like 3rd edition and even ever since then, because that was the last edition I played, there were nerfs and there were buffs that just allowed beardy players to do whatever the fuck they wanted. But your average person would just like, oh shit, oh okay, yeah, I lost that unit. It was my commander. And so it's I think it's really important to get terrain rules right, and I think not to go too far either way. And I think hopefully they're going to retreat back from this complete nerfing of terrain that they did previously and bring it back to a space where it's actually a good thing.
I'm hoping that they do keep terrain as an armor modifier. I love that. I think that's fucking great. I like that if you shoot someone with a las cannon, it goes through the tree they're hiding behind.
Yeah.
But
Like I never liked terrain as an
hardwood.
invulnerable save. I thought it was dumb.
tree. You can't go through hardwood trees.
I'd also like to see like some kind of hit penalty
Well, I mean,
Wow.
for
instead
the
of
obscuring and stuff.
we used to have hit penalties, and instead we've gotten an armor save. So, but it has the same effect upon the shooting.
I think, the biggest one, if you try to hide a tank in 8th edition, good luck.
Yeah, it's hard.
You just can't. It is ridiculous. Alright, scale of battle, Mark S. That's up to you.
Oh, well, this is one I've got expert knowledge on, of course, because I can never remember the size of the freaking tables to begin with.
4x6 is a generic one that we've played for many, many years.
Yeah, but the thing is, I never remember that. Though I do like the fact that they are trying to limit some of the time that can be spent over the top of it. Why? With the detachments, and they're saying combat's only got one detachment on. I can't remember what the other ones are, and that should take you about an hour, and there's up to 2 hours and 3 hours and 4 hours. Yeah. I think it's good because it actually allows you to try and fit a force within a size of a battle, within the size of a table, so you can try and get more in. And considering with us, it has been in trouble at times to get games in. I think it's quite a useful little guide that they're trying to push there.
I just played Rob today, 1,400 point battle. 6 hours later, we finished.
Yeah. Mind you, that's also the player.
That's also
Remember
the player.
that. It is
Not
also the player.
indicative.
No.
But
It didn't help,
I-
but it's not indicative, yes.
See,
Sorry, go on.
I like the idea that that they're giving you some sort of smaller spaces to operate in, and giving some guidelines as far as how much terrain and things like that are needed as well. So it's a far cry from go 6x4, whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, they did have a...
And the thing was that 6x4, whatever the hell you want, it works for so many players. Like, reasonable players, I reckon everyone on the screen here would be perfectly fine building a 6x4, whatever the hell you want, fair game.
Yeah.
But there are certain other players, and we know them. Like, there are players that we've played with. There are so many players in the world that they cannot deal with fairness. They can't make it just a game. They must win no matter what. And it's trying to nerf that aspect of the game.
You need to try
without
and dick-proof your rules.
damaging that community aspect that we all love.
Yes.
Mark, I just want to point out Staples, whatever. Your setup is fine if you could just stop playing with whatever you're doing.
I'm not doing a thing.
Okay. I've just got one comment saying, background noise is getting there. I don't know.
I'm not doing a thing. Not me.
All right. Dan,
I think it's chillaxed since that
since
issue
it?
was present.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So sorry about that. So I missed all that. I'm
right.
excited.
We're all excited.
We're all
Where were
excited.
we? We're on
I
scale
think-
of
look, I
battle.
just
We
want to put- when
completed
they-
scale.
When they first said,
Yeah.
Should we push
we're
to
going to make
reserves?
the
or-
scaled
good?
game, I went, can't you scale the game already?
Well,
Yeah.
it is a thinly veiled plot to sell more kill team mats.
That was the other thing I
Yeah,
thought was weird. 44 inches. So just over
Yeah.
3 foot, but not quite
All
4
of
foot.
it's multiples of kill team mats is
Yeah.
what all those numbers are. As you said, they can scale it, and they did. They've said we're going to increase points so that you'll have less units.
Yeah.
So
Which I don't have an objection to. More expensive units means I don't have to buy as many.
yeah,
Uh,
means you have to actually make hard decisions
Yeah.
as to what units you're going to take. Makes the game more interesting.
it's simple, not Ultramarines. So reserves.
Mhm.
Like,
I don't use them.
Well, I like the sound of needing to use command points to put units in reserve. I'm curious how they're going to change it, because they said some very grand and vague stuff, which has been pretty common so far in this announcement, where they talk about your units could come from wherever and there'll be more opportunity for generalship. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Are we going to be able to pick which? Are we going to be able to go, oh, well, for 1 CP, they come in from your side. For 2 CP, they deep strike. For 3 CP, they come in from whatever board section you want. Is that how it's going to work? Or is it going to be just they're in reserve and you roll a die to see what happens? Like, we need more information before we can really decide how good that is.
I got the impression that they were looking to do it as you can go from any table edge, provided you have the whole 9-inch insertion type deal.
I'm just curious, are you
but
going to
you
have to pay
do
more
first
CP
turn.
for that?
yes, I reckon so.
Yeah,
Can't
I
be
hope
enemies.
so.
You got to use command points to put him in reserve. I love that idea. Because I don't want it to go back to that. I've deployed. Nothing's on the table. I know.
Yeah, well, look, if your Dark Eldar didn't want to get absolutely wrecked, they shouldn't have showed up there.
Yeah. You talking to me? You bastard. It'd be interesting, but as long as I don't fall into that Alpha Strike side of things.
Yeah, if it can reduce the Alpha Strike, that's great.
Yeah.
Because
As
Alpha
long as
Strike
it's not a
sucks.
Rider's Strike, because that shit sucks.
But this is where the terrain thing comes back in, and having the proper obscured thing, you shouldn't be able to alpha strike, turn one.
No.
Yeah, well, I've often said that one of my rules of placing terrain is you shouldn't be able to just wail on each other from your deployment zones. If you can, you
gotta
terrain
move.
down.
Yeah.
Mm.
You got to. Tactically, you got to actually move and engage.
Seriously, what we should do before we set up any armies, before we set up any game, we should actually look at the terrain that's there. Why have we chosen this terrain? Why have we chosen this location? It's not because you can fire at each other from 200 kilometers away, because if you could, you would have fucking done that already. You're fighting over this area because there's a massive amount of impenetrable terrain for your weapons, and you need to fucking fight over
Are
it.
you talking about a narrative game?
I'm talking about fucking making good decisions.
See, I've got.
It's
I've
not
got
a
one
narrative
weapon that
game,
can do
it's
it.
just any game.
No, I think what they've been saying is the type of terrain you put down will have an effect. So if you're in industrial terrain, will be different to if you're in a forest, which will be different to an ice tundra, and I think that's awesome because what terrain did we put down at the moment? Well, I have an industrial terrain scenery. That's why I put it down.
Yeah. So what do you think about blast weapons, Greg?
Ooh. So when they got rid of templates, I cried a little, died a little inside. It was very upsetting, to be fair, because I loved my blast weapons.
I used to love playing with them as well.
It was so good, and people loved it when I played against them with my blast weapons with all my tanks. Didn't
Yes. I have fond memories of that. Yes.
So when you shoot a battle cannon into a unit of 30 orcs and you kill 2, you go, really? That doesn't seem quite right.
Frag missiles were the same, so...
Yeah. So the fact that guns will now get a keyword blast and will be more effective against larger squats.
Yeah,
Maybe no squats. Larger squads.
I suspect they're going to do something similar to what we already have in this edition, which is some guns will be like, if you're shooting at a unit of 10 or more, you get this many dice. If it's 20 or more, you get this many dice. But that'll probably be attached to the keyword instead of attached to every single vehicle. Because I think they mentioned there's going to be like universal rules, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. There's going to be the back of the book is going to be like the rules meant to be. I think we had a 4-page rule book last time.
It's almost like bespoke data card rules were a bad idea.
So no, I'm excited about it, and I think they need to come back because when you have, if you have a knight raining down fire and kills one Nurgling base, you sort of go, what?
Interestingly, in Engine War, I saw a lot of stratagems that are, if you are firing this type of weapon from this type of knight, it gets max hits. Or if you are shooting from Helverins at a unit with at least 6 members in the unit, you get 6 shots.
Well, that is interesting.
Instead of 2d3. So
Well,
I saw a lot of stratagems like
Well, it
that.
was interesting because the Demolisher, right, was D3 hits unless it was hitting with a unit of 10 or more, which would make it D6, but then they changed it and just made it D6. So they reversed that. It was weird.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited to see how it comes about. I look forward to it. Mark Kay's going to talk
Those on
about
the
flyers.
podcast and watching the stream, those chips were so freaking good, and I feel great. Thanks.
Do you want to say
I
something?
need those so bad. I've been on mute the whole time because I've been crunching chips. Fuck, it was awesome.
I just realised I got a bit chilly in here. I went, oh, where's the heater? Oh.
So flyers, they're kind of going back to how they were in 7th. I'm noticing, like they're leaving the table and coming back and things like that. I choose to believe that's a good thing because the flyers were kind of really cramped with the whole like you have to turn 90 degrees and then try not to run off the table and all of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And then there was the whole like they can't be over the top of other units and all sorts of stuff like that. So, it's It seems good, but there's not a whole lot of info on it yet.
Did anyone ever play with the Skies of Blood rules, I think they were called, where they added like dogfighting
Mark, you're looking
rules
good.
and the
Stop
ability to
fiddling.
fly off the table and stuff like that? I think that was in 7th, wasn't it? It was in 7th, where they added that
Oh
expansion.
yeah, and the dogfighting.
It was like a supplement.
onto another plane.
It feels like they're trying to add that. They're trying to bring that back.
I don't know.
Because, well, in that, you could fly off the table and come back on later.
Yeah, but you could
Like,
also go off
those
the
things.
plane, off the table, and fight someone else who was off the table.
Yeah, and they keep saying it makes flyers feel more like flyers. And I'm like, that
No,
sounds
it
like they're trying to
sounds-
bring back some of that stuff that no one used and then it got dropped for 8th.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, you're right, though, Mark. The fly that way, fly that way, fly that way, and just do that square. It's like,
And I'm interested to see whether they do ban flamers from being able to shoot at them, because I know for a long time that everyone's counter was, acid spray / flamer, because you couldn't miss the flyer.
yeah.
Yep.
On the other part of the flyers is it no longer obscures the people underneath, like their base. I can't stand here because there's a plane 400 meters above me.
Yeah,
So I'm interested to see how they're going to do that.
Yeah, it's hard to do that properly.
Yeah, they're allowed to stand on that base, which would be interesting for all the people who did all
Surely
fancy
they have
bases.
Vertical distance has to be a real thing.
Well, if you
Because
can hit people on
I mean, if
second
you
step,
if the distance between the plane's cannons and the target are a real thing, the distance between the plane and ground has to be a real thing.
I say they need to just issue like a GW mobile to hang off the ceiling, and you just have a string and spin it around. And
No,
How much do you reckon that would raise for
drone. We'll have a
Mark?
GW drone with laser targeting.
I like Mark's idea of the mobile. That could easily rake in, what, 80, 90 bucks for one of those?
but I think if
Oh,
you're going to
oh,
play
easy.
that, you also
And
have to have Mission Possible suspension for yourself to move it.
No, you just...
And then you've got to have the G-Dub branded string as well. 'Cause
yeah,
you can't just have normal twine from Woolies. You've got to have the G-Dub stuff.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
And
but
people will
until
3D
they-
print it. Yeah.
I
Until
think
they
Mark and I are
release
going to
that.
claim patent pending on that.
Until they release that, you just go down to Fishwick and buy yourself a suspension harness, and then you can just put all your models hanging from that. Just put D rings on top of all your flyers. You're good.
You never know. Some of our players probably have those set up as it is.
Yeah,
I've got
all
it
in
off
their
camera,
Prince
right?
Alberts.
Oh, yes.
So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Other things we have learnt over the time that since it's been relaunched. Modifiers would be no more than plus or negative 1.
Do not like.
See, this sounds like flagrant bullshit. There's no way that's actually true.
Yeah.
I think it's not so much like your APs, -2 AP and stuff like that. It's
That's
more
what
like,
I'm saying.
I think it's more, if I want to shoot you, I can get a +1. If I play this stratagem, it's still +1.
Yeah,
So no
I would
stacking.
Believe,
Yeah, I think
I
it's the
believe that you
stacking.
can't stack like shooting, wounding, hitting modifiers.
Yeah.
I don't believe that they're going to flatten all the armor penetrations.
No, they won't.
Like,
you can see that. They can't
It
have a
feels like it's
plus
more
armor
about you can't
penetration.
stack things rather than there's no more than +1 or -1.
I agree.
It's just a badly worded thing that they haven't explained.
Yeah.
GW
The
don't
stacking
explain.
used to shit me.
Oh, well, that's where that people were playing those 7 stratagem cards in the first turn to get. You will die if I touch my dice. I don't even have to
Yes.
roll it.
The infamous 2+ rerollable invulnerable save, you know.
Oh, you mean the standard Smurf thing? Yeah, gotcha.
Well, that one was usually Zinch demons.
The morale phase will change.
I don't know anything about this one. What's that?
So
Missed that bit.
they're
They haven't
saying- You
very
go on,
well.
Michael.
I was going to say, they haven't explained it very well.
No, all
Like,
I've
you-
said is
yeah.
it's going to be. It won't be just a simple roll the dice, you lose people. It will be a tiered. There'll be different effects of morale. So
So the more you fuck up, the worse it'll be.
Well, I'm thinking more that shock. You know, like with Necromunda, you get shocked, and when you fail a morale test, and so you can't do as much as that, or shell shocked. Wasn't another one that What game was that? Was that 4th or something? Where you got shot and you basically took to the ground.
That was pinned.
Pinned,
In
that's the
like
word. Yeah. So
6th and that.
maybe they might bring back pinned. Who knows?
I don't think
Thing
they're
is,
going
we'll
to
just got
change it
pinned.
that much because, as they've said, the Psychic Awakening books were written for the new edition, and Slanesh has a demon ability, which is your greater demon. It gets 1 wound back for each model
boned.
that falls back
Boned,
due to morale.
I just got boned.
So currently, your greater demon gets 1 wound per model that runs away from morale.
So we don't know.
And that's kind of the wording. So that's still going to have to be on the table somewhere.
Well,
And if they nerf it too hard, that ability is going to suck.
the Slanesh Daemonettes, their morale, if they fail the morale or get a roll of 1, they come back. They just regenerate stuff. So if we can use our old books, they have to have that in there.
Well, that's
somewhere.
what I'm saying. The old book suggests, and it's the most recent book. So this has got to have been written for the new rules.
Yeah.
So models fleeing, dying is still probably going to be a thing, because otherwise, why put that rule in the book?
Maybe they'll actually bring back the old flee rule. Remember when you didn't just lose people, you actually had to run away?
And they would run off the table or into terrible places.
Yeah, but that was good because they had a chance to recoup or get absolutely stabbed to death while they turned their back. I actually like that better than what we've got at the moment.
I'm not a fan of our current morale system.
No.
Yeah, the worst thing that I have about the current morale system is just the fact that I keep even forgetting to do it.
Yep.
Because there's so many modifiers and stuff where you just don't suffer morale that you do it so infrequently that you don't even remember it's a phase.
Yeah. Or if you're a Marine player and you have 5-man squads and your morale's 8 or 9, it's I'll use the whole fucking squad before I can fail.
Yeah. Before you said that, all I could hear from Mark was just arrogance, but Ultramarine, so I wasn't sure what was. Morale! We don't even bother with morale.
Stinking morale.
They shall know no fear.
So that's honestly, to me, as a non-player at the moment, that sounded like, everybody has to face this ridiculous morale thing. I mean, no one else has to take this test. Why would you even bother? And really, it's only Marines. I didn't even know. I didn't know.
No. Tyranids when they're in Synapse don't have it. Necrons don't suffer from morale.
Yeah, we do. We do now.
You do now, do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We get fucked over more now than anyone else.
Oh, everyone suffers from morale except units that are explicitly immune to it, like Tyranids. It's mostly just
And
Tyranids who are immune. But Marines don't suffer it much because their unit size is so low, and your morale check is based on how many models you lost compared to your leadership.
So drunk.
Yes. Those fucking Space Wolves, they're fucking tits deep in ale, and they don't run away. They just fucking... I mean, the hard is
very morale at the moment.
My arm is gone. It's okay. Fuck it, I've got another one. I can fire a bolter and swing a chainsword. Fuck you.
I'll bite your legs off.
I lost my arm, but by the grace of the Emperor, I was born with a second one. Let's go.
There will be more units put into legendary status, but not in a big hit.
I'd want to know more about it.
Oh, I think as
that's
soon as
not
I
going to
saw
make anyone happy.
some of the new Marines and stuff, Devastators are gone. Assault Marines are gone. Yeah.
A big hit is a relative term.
Nice blue screen. I love it.
I had to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we don't know any more than that, but we know that and we knew that was coming. We knew Necrons will probably, and we know.
And that's
that
what I'm particularly interested because you've seen the new Necron Destroyer, whatever that thing is, the Scarpec Destroyer, whatever it is. That is obviously something that they go around. I don't think it's anything major. I think it might be a dynastic style, and that's that dynasty's version of a destroyer. But once they do that and they become back with the Silent King or whatever, will they then go, all right, the rest of them can all now just piss off when you don't need to see them anymore?
I think they're going to get the Primeras treatment, but I think you'll see more of the old Marines be moved on more than you'll see the old Necrons moved on.
That's what I'm thinking.
Staggered.
The impression that I got with the new destroyers was they were a new type of destroyer that
Yeah.
doesn't replace the old ones, but that is in parallel. They are both destroyers, but they are different types.
Different armament. On it.
Like this one is a Scorpec destroyer, that one is a Necron destroyer.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So Scorpec means Primaris.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Necron 2.0.
We got upgrades.
Yeah.
They are
Number
I
5
Necron
is
2.0.
alive.
I've had a good run with them. I can't argue too much, really.
So it'll be interesting to see what does do. Moving on.
Does do.
Now, Mark, you brought this up earlier. The withdraw from hand to hand has a penalty.
Which I've always felt needed to be the case, because
yeah.
the amount of times you'd have Tau were very good at this. They'd hop in, mess you up, hop out, and rinse, repeat, and you were sitting there, and there was just nothing you could do.
Well, in most armies,
Oh, everyone
too many
can walk
armies
out
that
of hand to hand.
immune.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but walk out of hand to hand manhandled was not appropriate. Everybody needs
Except
to be
Mark,
manhandled.
who's had an issue with his mouse and keyboard driver. KBDHID.sys. Keyboard driver. I think you're in all sorts there.
So I'm looking forward to see that take effect, because I don't think you should be able to go, not me.
Yeah, I just...
Not it.
It's...
Everyone can shoot him now.
I can see the point of it. I just get annoyed with it because my units are predominantly non-hand-to-hand. So am I going to be ultimately more affected now than I were? And I don't know, from my opinion, whether I was being given an unfair advantage. I don't know. I'm just seeing a weird face on ears. But I just don't want to see my guys get absolutely smashed because they're not built for H to H. And I get
the question you have is, do you have any other bullshit rules that allow you to fall back and then just shoot?
No.
See,
That's what they're trying to stop.
Yeah, so with Ultramarines as an example, you would fall back and you'd take a -1 to hit, but you could shoot after that. Now, there's a lot of stuff like the Flyers and a whole bunch of other ones that get 0 penalty whatsoever.
Well, it wasn't even Flyers, it was
Zero
a fly
night.
rule. So anyone who had a jetpack had the fly rule, so they can go, thanks.
Axe anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and what would happen is you'd charge some, crisis suits. They would fall back and then just blast the heck out of your guys who had finally plotted across the map to charge.
It's a function of something they've been really pushing, I feel, in this release. It's the State of Origin style, bring back the biff. People have been complaining that hand-to-hand combat is useless in 8th edition. I disagree, but they're trying to make it more valid and more effective.
Well, it's funny that you say that, because they changed the rules where you had that Corn Berserkers in a Rhino tank who'd go up, the tank would explode, Corn Berserkers would get out, charge, they're in combat. Oh no, that's too powerful. Take that back. You can no longer do that. Okay.
Well, they were like, the intended way that rule's supposed to work, I think, was their argument.
Yeah. It's just funny because that's how you load it up. You just put your Corn Berserkers in, and you want waiting for the Rhino to explode.
Because they can't charge. They can't charge if they get a vehicle, but if the vehicle blows up, they can charge in the next turn.
Yeah,
and that's where I'm hoping that they do something with the transports, because 8th hated transports basically. Like they just made it so that they were useless.
Oh yeah, they did that in my Necron barge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have that much of a problem with transports in 8th, but yeah, everyone else hates it.
Like it killed the Rhino and the Razorback and a whole bunch of other units, which I used very heavily in 7th because I could move and then get my guys out and then do it.
They could get out and shoot. They didn't move further, but they could get out and shoot. But now they have to get out before the transport moves. I mean, hang on, but yeah.
I did notice that my guard lost their party boss.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right,
because that was the standard.
Sorry, go on.
I was saying that was the standard thing you did with Imperial Guardsmen. You just put them all in the Chimera, and they all just fired out of the Chimera.
Oh yeah.
You just use the Chimera boss.
Well, that's what I did with the Rhino.
Okay.
Yeah.
All we
Grav
know
cannon.
Overwatch will change. Theories? Isabel?
What was wrong with it?
I think what you'll see is that everyone in a unit can shoot in Overwatch, because it was always stupid that if you were at 9 inches and your flamer was like an 8-inch range,
Yeah, pissed
that
me off.
that they were like, oh, I'm charging you, but I'm a little bit further away. So they go, oh, well, I can't reach him, so I'm not going to flame him at all.
I actually liked that because it gave you an incentive to go for a longer charge. You're charging from 9 inches away is harder than charging from 7 inches
the
away,
problem with that
but you won't get flamed.
But the problem with that was I had to be I was 9 inches away, but I only have to roll an 8 to get into combat. Yet my flamer that's 8 inches can't shoot you at 9 inches.
Well, that's because, 8 is still less than average.
But as I said, it's not like the flamethrower guy is going to be like, oh, they're too far. No,
yeah, but
just don't,
it was it was a
there's
reaction
nothing.
against the 7th edition flame, unlimited fucking range, which was ridiculous.
No, I agree with Mark on this one. If I'm a flamer, I'm not going to stand there and go, he's a little bit too far. I'll just wait for him to punch me in the face.
Yeah, but
I was letting him come an inch closer
in
before I
8th
decked him.
edition, it was particularly bad with the Tau. In 7th edition, it was particularly the Tau because they could all Overwatch you. So
terrible.
you could get flamed by the guy 36 inches away when you charged, and that was ridiculous.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
And I'll completely pay that. There needs to be a middle ground that the guy 36 inches away can't flame.
I think the middle ground is if Ultramarines are charging, everyone in the army can shoot.
As a Dark Angel, I can
The
support that.
+3 to hit.
Now, Red,
salty.
Greg, you
So
asked for my opinion on this.
I did.
My opinion on this that I don't play the game.
I know.
I've got no
I just wanted
idea.
to hear your voice.
I have chips, and they are good.
Missions will be varied and flavoursome.
Yeah, I kind of believe that. They seem to be catering the new missions for the different size play fields and stuff too. So we could see some interesting stuff there, but no info yet.
I think it'd be good. They've released one, and it seems to have a bit more story behind it. I think it's with that the organisers of Nova for playtest, because they have some pretty serious mission things. Not serious, but not the basic. You stand here, and shoot each other. Have fun. So, any other comments? No? Good. I like this one. Secondary missions can be selected to better suit your force.
Yeah, I like the idea of this because it means you're less likely to get hosed by a bad mission. And how many times have you rolled up to a mission and been like, oh, my army's fucked. I can't win this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, that and there's usually like with Tyranids, some of them don't make sense because you're like, why would Tyranids care about any of this?
Yeah. It's like, I've had it happen back when I used to play tourneys. I showed up with an army that had, I was playing guard, I think, car park guard, and I had, something like 26 kill points in my army.
Yeah.
And my opponent had 9. And I'm like, so, how am I going to win a kill points mission, guys?
Yeah.
Can't. Good luck with that.
Yeah. No, well, some of the examples they showed, if you're a Khorne berserkers, you're not going to go for how many kills you can get in shooting range.
Yeah.
I don't know. How far can I throw my fucking axe?
So yeah, I like the ability to be like, well, I'm going to add a secondary mission my army can actually do or actually
Flavoursome
cares.
of your army coming into the character of your army coming into play.
Yeah.
And even beyond the character of the army, you're not getting screwed by the primary mission. Badly. Get it bad.
All right. Deathwatch to get some love and early on. Now, if anyone watched the Q&A, that's where this reference has come from.
So what are we saying that they're going to get a codex first?
The commentary, there was a question made at the Q&A said, are Deathwatch going to get any love? And all of them went, yes, they will, and sooner than you reckon.
Okay.
So sometime or 2025.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, actually, 2
so
days are quite
when
a positive.
COVID's over and COVID 2 has passed and like Star Wars 186
Yeah.
has come out,
Funny
then
enough, I
Death
need you to
Watch.
debate because I'm going to be back momentarily. It's got through me.
Oh my God, the leader has left quick. Riot!
Broke-
Riot!
You've
Hooray!
broken him.
Just break
Right.
everything.
So,
Trying to get the video working
where
and
were we
everything.
at?
We
were
lost
at
that
Death Watch and
first.
shit.
Death Watch.
Yeah, ad break,
Yeah.
whatever.
I Death Watch
How's
becomes-
everyone? How is everyone feeling with the new edition? How's everyone feeling with their soul? Has your soul been ripped out with this new edition?
I don't know
God,
if I'd say that.
Mark K.
I don't know if I'd say my soul has been ripped out by the new edition.
Yet.
I'm hopeful, I guess. And I guess I'd go with cautiously optimistic. To
Excellent.
invoke a tired cliche, but there's hope.
I like it. Michael.
I was literally about to make a joke that I feel like on the topic of new edition, I should just get cautiously optimistic tattooed down my arm. Because it feels like it's the answer I give every time a new edition comes out. I'm like, hey, it could be good, we don't know.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love your response. And Mark S.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Came in late to all the editions than everyone else did, so I came in on 7th. I saw 7th as something I liked. I saw 8th as something I disliked. Cautiously optimistic as well, I guess. I would like to see an even, well-played, well-thought-out edition instead of trying to appease all the turning monkeys, getting every single rule and opportunity they want in, and bring it back to the casual gamer.
I love it. That is all really good statements. For me, as a person who hasn't played since 3rd Ed, and I know my opinion is fucking pretty minimal here, but I am optimistic in that this is the first edition I've really felt engaged with and really felt like I could perhaps dip my toe back in.
Well, let's snatch that moment there. What is making you do that?
All right. Really, and I'm telling you, 100% of what's pulling me back in is the Crusade rules.
Oh, that was me.
It's 100%. Seriously, it's the Crusade rules. No, fuck you, Chris.
There's no rules for that in 9th edition.
Give him a chance.
Look, you ate my hot sauce and you loved it,
Second edition.
and we had such a good weekend. However, yeah, sorry.
But yeah, like my 9-year-old is super hyped to hear that 9th edition is coming out because he's like, that gives me a great excuse to start playing because of
Yes!
9th edition.
I know,
Like,
I know.
He's
Anyway,
really excited about it.
this is where we should lead off. This is the excitement we should lead off. What do we got, Greg?
What, nobody wanted my opinion?
No. Tell
the
us
question?
your opinion.
What was the question?
The question was,
What's exciting about 9th?
What's exciting about 9th? What's pushing your interest in 9th or opposite?
No, Crusade is, as you mentioned, that's the big one for me. I think 8th edition had no character to it at all. It was simply put my force down, roll my dice. That was it. There was no... I mean, today's game was awesome. It was exciting, but it was still, oh yeah, you point that gun that way, I'll point that gun, mate. I'll put my hammer through your head. How's that? Okay, good. But I never got engaged with my salamanders. I didn't really get engaged with my guard. And I'm like, do I want to win today? Yes, I'll take my guard. It's not because I wanted to play Catachan. It's because I know how to play them and I know how to play them well. Death Guard, which for considering I didn't like Chaos and I didn't want to go Nurgle, I love my Death Guard. They're fun. Everyone hates them, but it's fun. But I'm excited that the flavour of the game will come back. It's not just stand and shoot. Yeah, hopefully comes back, I should say. And,
I mean,
that's... units have differences. It's not everyone is the same.
Which is funny for an edition where they where they drilled in all the units have their own rules, and they didn't feel that special.
No, well, we talked about what they missed in the Space Marines supplements. Where were the special units for the White Scars? Where were the special units for the Salamanders and stuff? It says, okay, here's a character. Yeah, but where's my Fire Drakes? Yeah, okay, but where's my special attachment of Bikers and my White Scars? Not that I have White Scars, but I am tempted with this new edition. If it's good. Yeah. Imperial Fists, did they really have any advantage since terrain was such a non-event? Yeah.
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 And painting yellow, fuck, you go through all that shit to get, I've got no advantage. How about let's move on.
Now, we just smashed through monsters, terrain,
Yep.
and
So we've gone through
scale
all
of
the
battle, blah, 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 flyers. Now, we've got an ad break, or where are we at? Where are we at
We're
time-wise,
going to do a
kids?
quick ad break for 30 seconds because I think we need a breather. I've already taken my breather and it was good.
Could have just used a can and no one would
Oh
have
my
noticed.
god. It's god, I thought I was on to the fourth one. I went, oh shit, please no, but no, I just can't count. That's good. Alright, so we're gonna do a 30-second break to get our breath back and we'll go from there.
We are Rollers, and we have the games for you. Be it board games, card games, dice games, or party games. You name it, and we have it. Find us online at rollersboardgames.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at rollersboardgames.
From acoustic to distortion, Storyboard Concept is music that's honest, relaxing, and full ball rockin' music. Follow Colin at storyboardconcept.bandcamp.com. We are back. Hope you enjoyed that. That are the adverts that we have that we run. So, Rollers Board Games. That is where we get all our board gaming accessories from. Good bloke. We had a really good game last week. A couple of games provided by him. Caffeine Rush was a good one until somebody poured beer over it. Isabel. So yeah, Rollers Board Games. Check out. I believe they've got a few games on sale at the moment, so check them out. And of course, the guy who produces all our music for us. We love him, Colin. He just had a newborn. Yes, his number 2 has arrived. I think it was born about yay big and had legs and feet. It was a wonderful situation.
Remotely human.
Have you met Colin? That's not the point.
Remotely.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. So it's great that he's been able to produce music for us. Really appreciate that. We have realised we normally go for about an hour each episode. We're going 2 hours long, so we had a big section we're going to talk about models and stuff like that. So we're going to go a bit quicker. We're going to talk about what models impressed us the most that we've seen so far. I just want to point this out because I know one people give me grief. I was looking at what models have been announced so far. For 9th edition, did you know that 9 new Space Marines have been announced and 9 new Necron miniatures have been announced?
Illuminati confirmed.
And what does that tell us? That Half-Life 3 is due out this year.
Oh my god, that's what it is.
So
You are correct. I'm going back to eating chips.
Michael.
What?
2 miniatures that just gone for you. One for the Marines, one for the Necrons. What have you gone?
Well, actually, in true fanboy style, it's the Primeras Lieutenant, everybody's favorite model. I really like the way the new Primeras they've announced for this have that old school Marine 40k vibe. Like they've got a bit more. He's got more paraphernalia on him. He's got like the shield. He's got more purity seals. He's got robes on him. He's got a fucking 30k Volkite. He's just a cool model who just looks better than the old Primaris did. He's a Primaris who steals from the aesthetic of the older Marines, and I like it.
Fair enough. And for
And,
the Necron sides?
For the Necrons, I hadn't really picked one out, but I like that interesting new Satan looking thing.
Oh,
I'm
Satan,
curious
hang
if
on.
it
Let me get
is
to the
going to be a
page.
Satan. It's the one in the background
There
with
is.
the big silver wings and like that helmet. I'm curious what that is. If it's going to be a Satan or if it's going to be some kind of enslaved Satan that the Silent King has kind of captured and taken control of with mechanical stuff. That's the vibe I
It
get.
does look awesome.
I'm curious about it.
Mark K, what about you?
So for mine, I was actually liking the Judicar on the Primeras side. I'm just a bit curious. It's got a chaplain-y kind of vibe. I don't know where they're going with that, but I'm interested.
Chaplain meets Judge Dredd. That's what I'm going with.
Yeah,
It's the equivalent of Executioner that they have.
yeah, and for Necrons, I think I was liking the Destroyer because they kind of bulked them up a bit, and they're a bit less like legless centaur.
Fair enough.
So they're mine.
Isabel, not the Necromarines.
Necromarines, hang on.
Space Marines.
Space Marines, yes.
Which ones?
I think I just like the fact that the Primaris no longer look like Tau alternates. For me, the Primaris traditionally, from when they started, they were always a little bit clean. So clean. And as everyone said so far, they're getting a little bit more artificier, sort of armor, weapons, this sort of thing. And no, I'm very fond of the fact that we're getting Primaris to a place where we're not thinking, whoa, shit, are you like a Tau faction? What's going on?
And for the Necrons?
I think I like the enormous blades and shit.
The enormous
Only
blades.
because, like, Necrons were always, like, very large guns, hunched over motherfuckers, all this shit. Now that what they've done, they're, an extra spine, a bit more hunched over, but now they've given these enormous, ridiculous blades, which is pure 40k. I love it.
Not for safe. Marines. Please.
Not that I give one rat's ass about the Smurfs in blue. Speaking for my daughter who actually plays them. The bikes, I think they looked funky, and I'm always happy to have the bike type of stuff in there.
Yes.
For my crons, for me, it's the Silent King. I have been interested in the Silent King right from the start, and it's interesting now to see that they're finally going to bring him back. And if you have a look at the model, you see on the back of his little Kaban barge or whatever it is, the half corpse of a Satan Shard there. I'm assuming. I think it looks really cool, and I'm absolutely bound to fuck that up so severely when I paint it.
For me, I love what are they called? The veterans. No, not the veterans. The guy.
The Blade Guard.
No, it's. Oh yeah, the veteran guards. Far out. I'm trying to fast forward to the picture.
Blade Guard,
Guys with the swords and
Blade
shields.
guards and the shields. I love that. For me, I just love the idea of just charging through with the shield, going, you're gonna get fucked.
I'll give you some of my Age of Sigmar Stormcast when you save you some money.
Look, that is just pure mod. I'm pointing over here because I can see a picture of him. You can't. For the Necrons, I know it's going to upset you, Mark, but I love the new look of the Warriors.
I hate them.
I think it just gives that
Absolutely
character to them, that
hate 'em.
hunched, half dead.
I agree with you, Greg.
Scarabs coming out of their guts, the intestines, which is actually wiring hanging down. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I know you hate it, so I wanted to bring it up. I don't like it at all, but I just want to bring it up. No, I do actually like it. It just looks fantastic. Because my oldest plays Necrons, and putting those miniatures together, oh my god, so fucking fiddling boring. So
That's the idea. They're robots. They come out of a machine.
But they're dead robots, so they can't be fully functional. They come out.
They come out of a machine.
Thriller. No, that's not right.
Yeah, I get the impression the new ones are really old ones. They haven't been freshly built.
Yeah, my impression is they are the Silent King's forces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like them.
I would suggest that the new Necrons, They've missed all of the upgrades in the preceding
That's
section.
it. That's what I like. They're not quite fully functional.
An
And so,
iPhone 1
g'day.
versus an iPhone 30,000.
So that's there you go. There's a rundown of the ministry. There have been a lot. As I said 9 of each force have been announced, or confirmed. Pictures of, blurry or whatever. There are 9, at least 9 of each. Convenience, right? So we did mention at the start of the episode we were going to give our predictions of what the first 5 codexes we think we're going, and we should probably rephrase that. What are the first 4 after Space Marines will be released? Because we know Space Marines will be the first, right?
Yeah.
My first. Oh, I am first on
Oh.
this.
Shouldn't
Well,
be. They just came out.
Well, yeah, because they had a codex already.
I believe the Marines will be the first one to come out with a new codex. What a surprise. I think Necrons will be second. I think the Guard will be third. I actually think the Death Watch will be 4 and the Eldar will be 5. So no sisters. Isabel.
Sisters first.
You wish.
Necron second. Guard third. Eldar fourth. Marines 5.
Marines 5. Wow. Not for safe.
I actually think they'll do a double drop and do Crons and Ultramarines first. I think, considering the push they're going to, I reckon they'll do that. I think Sisters will come in third. After that, I have no real thought because I don't think any of them have really been avoiding the love or getting too much love. Those are the only ones that come to my mind at the moment.
Okay. Who's next? Mark. Safe or?
So I think whoever is in the starter box,
Marines,
those
Necrons.
two codexes will drop.
Well, those images
first.
we've seen is the starter box, surely.
There has to
Well,
be those 3
gotta be.
forces.
yeah. So after that, I reckon Death Watch. And then after that, you might start seeing something a bit different because all the Chaos people will probably
Oh, they'll rage.
arc up. So I'd give Chaos after that.
One more.
I think that's what 4. Okay. After that, maybe something for Custodes
Oh,
because
fuck
they
them.
haven't had anything since before Psychic Awakening.
Yeah.
Death Watch, Death Guard have not had anything since 8th edition was announced. Come on, just saying.
Yeah, but no one plays Death Guard.
They're-
Just
they're-
those noble
Michael,
demons.
I was going to let you have a speaking time, but I've run out of time. Michael, you're 5.
Yeah, much as it feels unjust to say so, I feel like the Marines are going to be probably the first. I like the idea of a dual drop with the Necrons
Boo!
because they're both there.
Yeah.
Like it feels like they're probably going to do it. To put the new bloody models in there, nothing else. I would like Guard to show up alongside the Sisters. Don't know what order they're going to be in, but I'd like to see the Guard redone. I feel like when they talk about models going into the Legends, Guard are always where it comes to mind. So I feel like they're probably going to get a new codex to remove some of the old Guard models. And probably Death Watch in there as well, because Death Watch hates Xenos, and we got a lot of Xenos showing up as our, I guess, Death Watch as well, but not straight away because they said they're going to be some time.
I convinced you on the Death Watch. I'm clearly.
Can I make a radical theory
No.
come to light?
Go on.
Imperial Guard and Sisters all encompassed. Same
Imperial
codex.
agents under one banner.
You may as well touch Death Watch
It
under
would
that
be
at the same
nice
time.
to see. It'd be nice to see an Imperial Agents codex.
Yeah, wouldn't it? We didn't mention that the 40k, the writers of the 40k books are actually doing the Forge World books as well.
Which is good, I guess. I keep complaining 40k writers don't fucking talk to the Forge World writers.
Now
And
they've
I
got no
guess,
excuse.
I guess the 40k guys just taking the
Whoa.
Forge World guys' job is probably better for us. But
Why-
it'd be nice if they just talked to them instead.
Why I brought this up is because the example they brought up was the Death Creek, whatever they're called, Death Force
The
Creek.
Death Claw.
Yeah, Death Core of Creek. They were the ones, for example. Yeah, they're getting there, and it sound like they're getting a lot of love, which means Astra and Militarum probably get a lot of love, and so we're in the debate stage now. That's why I think the Guard would be up there, and the fact they had Cadia up there as well, and they're bringing out those new Catachan models. It makes me feel that they're going to get some love, which bringing the character back to Catachan, to
Bring
Imperial
back
Guard.
some more Guardians would be nice.
See some Vostroyan. See some bloody Valhalla
I've got a
models.
box of them
my
in there.
God.
Fix the commissars.
Yeah, fix the commissars. Unless you Yarrick, they're pretty useless. And they're only good if Yarrick's only good if you're playing orcs. That's
Fix
my
the
humble
Rough
opinion.
Riders.
Oh, they're legends.
I know.
Poor Rough
That was
Riders.
hurtful.
It's definitely
they'll-
rough for them.
They'll go that deep cut, and Guard are going to get back Jet Black Riders again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah!
Fuck yeah.
Trader.
Fuck
Now you're talking
Remember
shit.
those?
I have absolutely no idea. About.
They are
I had
first
a model.
ed
Yeah, one of my
exclusives.
first models got was the Jet Rider of an Imperial
In
Guard.
first
Holding up
edition,
his gun like this,
Imperial
and his
Guard
metal thing.
got Jet Black units.
It was awesome.
They were just dudes, Jet Blacks with like multi lasers
Yeah.
and shit.
It was good.
Yeah.
Good times. So, Sisters, that's hopeful, not real prediction, is...
No, I reckon, sisters. I have decided, because I am in charge of GW and everyone knows it, that we're going to get a Necrons Sisters battle box. That is the starter set. Space Marines are not in it.
Well, if that happens, that means 10th edition's right around the corner, because the Sisters gets Codex New Edition.
Exactly.
No, not this
Well,
time.
we did hear rumours of 10th
We
being
did already. How
being
ridiculous
planned.
is that?
so it could come true.
No,
you know.
it's not ridiculous. Seriously, a company like this that has such a colossal reliance on law and on rules and on structures of rules, they need to be planning for 10th edition 3 to 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Seriously,
they'd be
like
working on
it's
it.
not.
Oh,
You
they'd be working on
can't.
10th
You
now,
can't
yeah.
suspect that they're gonna go. Oh shit! It's fucking 9 a.m. I gotta release 10th edition at midday. Oh, I better start work.
No, they've been
No,
working on it now.
They've been working on it for a while.
So,
This edition they've just released, they started working on this, I would say, in what,
it's a
2017,
nice-
2018?
so we all said Marine and Necron in our top 5, and then Isabel did her own thing.
Fuck you.
We all said Guard.
Most of us said Sisters as well.
Yeah, so Marine, Necron, Guard. We all said those 3, yeah?
Yep.
No.
And
I said no guard.
No,
no. What'd you say?
I said Death Watch.
I'm
Chaos
just stoked that 3 people
and-
said Doth Watch. They're the
Yeah, Death Watch.
European version.
Chaos.
Bath Watch. I went
I'm the
Smurf
Doth
Cron
Watch.
Sisters.
Oh, I've got a Porsche.
Stop trying
Yeah.
to suck my blood.
Death Watch,
You
Chaos,
crazy cookie.
Custodes.
So I noticed there wasn't a lot of Xenos, apart from Necrons, in there.
Because they hate Xenos and they never update them.
No.
I believe I said Eldar as my last one,
I
wasn't
said
it?
no, I don't know. I said Eldar.
And there was such a big focus on Eldar and Dark Eldar and Harlequins for a while through this whole Psychic Awakening.
That was what I was thinking. It was going to be early.
Well, yeah. We know 2 factions that got their Psychic Awakenings were in White Dwarfs, Harlequins and Death Watch.
Yep.
I wouldn't be
Harlequins actually
surprised.
Do something.
I was actually going to say I wouldn't be surprised. One who was in White Dwarf is an early Codex release.
That puts Harlequin
And-
there. Yeah. Interesting.
Mm.
All right, let's try and wrap this up.
And-
We are going a while. I'll go on, Michael, before I interrupt you again. Too late. So... oh, a prick. Jesus. All right, so the next part, which I did ask you at the start to think about, is when do you think 9th edition will drop and why? Mark, not safe for work.
It's gone.
Yeah, it's you. When do you think the 9th edition will actually drop?
November.
November. Okay. And why?
Christmas.
Because of Christmas.
Pretty much. They probably may, as Isa said, they've probably been planning this for a very long time, and I agree with her. Having done playtesting for D&D, particularly with 3rd edition, 3.5 and 4th, they were done a very long time in advance, and they let the leaks go out. So they would be very well aware that this is an expensive hobby. They know it. They don't give a shit about how much they bankrupt us. And with the current economic clusterfuck that is all around the world, they need to get people having a reason to get these, get them in, get parents buying them for young people, our people our age not being berated by their families because they're spending a fortune on these toys.
I've had them for months, dear.
Yeah, mine doesn't see the price.
Isabel, your prediction for when it will drop?
Although I agree with Mark in that they need to get it out to cope with the ISO situation, and the ISO situation in Britain and the US is much graver than it is here. People are not allowed out still over there. I predict that I reckon they're planning to release it when Mark said it was November, but they know that people need to be indoors. And as soon as they're allowed to start manufacturing again, they want to get shit in people's hands so they can actually play it in fucking doors.
Yeah, see your point.
I reckon it's going to be late July.
Michael?
I reckon it's going to come out in October.
Get out.
Because it needs to come out before Christmas, but I think they're going to want some lead time so they can actually get it to people before Christmas. And I also think that they're probably going to try and rush because of the situation. So it's actually a bit between the two, which I didn't intend to do, but that was actually where I was going.
Thank you, Fence Sitter.
He's doing a great job of it.
It will be out sometime.
Next year, this year, maybe.
Me, I get to go before you, Mark. Ha 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 ha. I think their original plan was probably later this year, absolutely. But because of COVID, self-isolation, shutdown and stuff, and they need to get money coming in, it will be July. Because if they've announced it now, it will have people not buying stuff to until they get the new codexes, new rules. Yeah, I need to buy some Marines. Hang on, I don't know if these Marines will be worth anything anymore in the new codex. I won't buy them. I'll wait for the new codex. So they've got to drop it sooner than later now.
But they've been really pushing about that. Like they've been explicitly attacking
I think
that.
the original plan was to drop it late this year over the Christmas period, but because of the global situation and no money coming in, they're pushing it earlier and it will drop earlier because of that. So late July is my prediction. It's not what they wanted it to do, but they've had to do something. Mark, your turn.
I'm actually with not safe for work, Mark. November, I reckon they're going to aim for Christmas because the restrictions will be easing at that point, and Christmas is when everybody buys their stuff, basically. Yeah. I couldn't see like June, July because, again, they're all still in lockdown and you can't go play anywhere.
And also, you got a lot of countries not accepting stuff coming in from Europe.
Yep. That's why I reckon
they've got to consider all of the Brexit bullshit that the government's put on them.
Good point.
True. It's hard to produce stuff. Put yourself in the foot that hard.
There you go. There you go. That's predictions. I think they're all wrong and I'm right, but that's always the case in every podcast.
Sorry, because you're an idiot.
Who said that?
She calls it as she sees it.
Speaks only truths.
Don't get much
so we got we got December. We're looking for the Christmas release, and we got two saying probably earlier than
as soon as
possible. And we got the fence sitter. It will come out when it comes out.
No,
when it's ready.
It'll come out. It's going to come out when they can because they want it fast, but they can't do it too fast because they can't make it that quickly.
Well, I don't think they
won't wait till Christmas because they want it done as soon as possible.
Yeah, I don't think they'll want it fast. I think
that's my
November, but it's got to come out quicker because
Yes,
it's
but I
how many
don't
months
think
they've
they'll
had
be able
where
to
people haven't
time
been able to
July.
buy anything.
Yeah.
And they've announced it, nobody's going to buy anything again. As a Necron player, are you going to go out and buy more Tyranid Warriors and stuff?
I've bought absolutely nothing from Necron-wise. I've bought AdMech stuff.
Yeah. As a Marine player, are you going to go out and buy old-style Marines? Hell no.
Yeah, but people weren't doing that anyway.
I did.
Yeah. So I'll be looking on the second-hand markets, but that's
I
about
did
it
too.
at the moment.
Well,
Can I make a strong, radical prediction?
Go right ahead.
go for it.
That historically GW has shied away from electronic copies of their rules, but apparently Ninth Ed is the first one where they're going to release an app for rules and
Yeah, we didn't
codices.
even mention the app.
And
Yeah, we totally forgot about that.
this is going to be a really fucking big focus for them because of COVID, because
Yeah.
no one wants to go and buy a physical book. So the PDFs or they won't be PDFs,
Yeah.
but the app and the purchase thereof will be a massive focus.
Did you think we didn't mention the app because they promised that to us about 18 months ago?
Oh, a long
No,
time
because
now.
they seriously
That's
they
been on
promised
the-
it to us in 4th Ed,
Well,
and I'm not kidding.
One of the things they said at the start of 8th, didn't they, was they were going to try and do
Yeah.
an app because 8th was kind of AOS in 40k,
Yeah.
and one of the biggest things they pushed in AOS was we have an app that has all of the unit data cards,
And it's really
they
good.
never made that for 40k.
Yeah.
And now they're saying they're going to. Like, that was one of the things they said they were going to do. They were going to have an app like
Well,
AOS.
that's the
for
big
Ninth.
pitch, is to make it uniform. So where if I had to play the game here in my hometown, it will be the same. And if I go play over in the US, it will be the same because everyone's using the same app. It's
Yeah,
uniform
the app,
across the
app
board.
gets updated, whereas a physical codex doesn't.
Yeah.
Is kind of where you end
Well,
up.
that's why I never thought I would never buy the codexes now on the electronic ones. I would say it's great, but if you bring in an update, you're not updating my codex I bought.
Yeah.
If you bring in updates, you should be updating my codex. Not I have
I
to
really
go get
feel
another
like-
codex or another codex.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is what we want. That's
Yeah.
all we want.
Live rule books, pretty simple.
Would be
really.
good.
Yeah, it's not that hard in this day and age, is it?
No, it's not.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's it. We've been talking for a shit long time. I have drunk more beer than I probably should have because I'm speaking with the bestest language.
Bestest.
Yep.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
We can no
Words.
longer see Isabel's bottle of wine because I believe that is now empty, rolling across down the hallway. Rolling across
And with the empty packet of chips.
with the chips. Brilliant. So there's a definite sign we need to get out of here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't just us talking about stuff we want to talk about. As
Well, it's about
opposed to the other
normal.
27 episodes. And I do hope you enjoyed. A quick conclusion from Mark. Not safe for work. Are we excited about Ninth? Are we excited from the other Mark?
Yes,
Are
I
we
am.
excited from Michael?
Yeah, I'm
That's
curious,
enough.
cautiously optimistic.
Are we excited, Isabel?
The door is open.
Well, sorry. I'll just zoom.
No.
Oh,
Door,
that's not a fly?
motherfucker. Door.
I'm
No, I
excited.
closed it.
I'm very interested to see how it is, and my kids will be interested too, so it's going to be great. So, unless anyone else has anything to say, I will start doing our show. I'll do our traditional sign off
Wow.
of where we are.
Time to
stumbling
go.
over my words. Okay, so you can catch us on our social links, please. If you are watching this on the YouTube channel, please hit that like button and the subscribe button. And the YouTube channel, of course, is RLG Real Loud Gamers. Follow us there. If you are watching this on our Twitch stream, please hit follow. I really appreciate everyone who follows me because I'm just that friendly. Don't believe what everyone else says.
But also follow our RLG stream on
Yes.
Twitch because we stream combined games when Red Belly's not streaming by himself or Red Belly's not streaming at all.
Yeah.
We also stream on the RLG stream, and we'll link that in the show notes.
Yes, you'll get the credits. You'll see where that is. It is RLG, twitch.tv/RLG. Follow me if you'd like to. Who wouldn't? Twitch.tv/redbelly. If you want to follow Dodgy Witch, twitch.tv, Dodgy Witch.
And you'll sometimes find me on Dodgy Witch's channel helping her out be idiots in a zombie wasteland.
That's it. You can follow us on our Twitter. It is at RLG OzGamers. There seems to be a theme here. You can follow us on our Facebook page. You want to follow the 40k part of it, it is RLG40k. Or you can watch our whole gaming group, which is just RLG. What is it? Oh my god! Real Loud Gamers Facebook page.
Yeah, that's
Fucking
about it.
knows, man.
I didn't write that one down.
Real Loud Gamers, RLG40k, Real
There you
Loud
go.
Gamers.
Instagram at RLG40k, also known as 40k. Please hit those links, hit those follows, follow us. It would be really appreciated. We'd love to do. We're going to do more of this content, so you might well follow us anyway. Thank you for
Join us.
tonight.
Make the content with us.
Join us,
Why
mate.
not?
Yeah, look, we love the interaction. So 024C. Thank you for joining us for the chat tonight. Appreciate it. I'm using the mouse over here when the computer's over here. I need to use this mouse. That's not the point. That's what happens when you're multi-production. Please, Michael, sign us off because I don't want to talk anymore because it sounds silly.
You know what they say? Ninth time is a charm.
Sorry, Michael,
They
I'm
say.
going to cut you off because I haven't said bye to anyone.
What, Michael? That is. I feel offended, Michael. I think you should quit the whole show. No, I'm kidding because I love
That's
you.
it.
I
Mic
think
drop.
I think
It's your turn
Red
to
Belly
sign
should
off.
quit the whole show for that alone.
Michael's safe for work. Michael's safe for work? Never that. Mark's safe for work. Say farewell.
See
If you
ya.
want to plug anything, say something now. That was it. See
I said see ya.
Not safe for work, Mark. If you want to plug anything, now's your chance.
Apologies for my camera being a dick. No respect to Michael.
Isabel, is your chance to plug anything?
I love Michael, and I'm sorry.
And I'll plug stuff. I already did all the plugging, so woohoo! Thanks for joining us. Sign us out, Mike.
You know what they say? Time is a charm. They say it's better than ever, but will be glorious or just a wet fart. Only time will tell. Tune in next month for more Wobbly Syndrome.
Dun, dun, dun.